in match 67.
What was that, Ox? What?
Huh?
What?
Oh, it's just
Which match is it?
I was just reading the match number. It's there on the screen.
What does it say? 6-7. Huh. Interesting.
Not sure what you're hinting at.
Rip
but,
Good luck, Lunel. We are getting ready for this first game, and very much interested to see what does come out here. I do think we're going to see some new stuff. I don't think it's going to be of the Zyra mid variety like we saw at a Showmaker, but maybe some cool new picks.
Yeah, Rumble still open and available. We'll see if they opt to ban it. There's been occasional times teams are letting it go open, trying to deal with it, and they ban Carrier's Bard instead, which, you know, I mean, is a great ban, but does leave the Rumble available for Doran to pick here. But they go for the Ashe instead. So passing it over to GENG, the opportunity to pick up the Rumble. Ashe secured. Seraphine going to likely be on the cards. And we can potentially have Ashe, Seraphine, Xin Zhao, which is a really strong trio together for T1 if GENG allow them to get it.
Yeah, I think not the easiest rotation here for GENG, but they're going to pick Ezreal.
Ezreal, Seraphine. Yeah, so denying the Seraphine away, so no Ashe Seraphine going to come through. Ezreal, Seraphine, not as much synergy as Ashe Seraphine, but a combo we've seen a couple of times.
And what about Rumble?
I think here we'll probably get the Ashe, Xin Zhao, Lulu then. We often see Ashe, Lulu instead, and Lulu, Xin Zhao has been a combo forever since we had Lulu mid. I
mean, that's definitely a good combo. What about Rumble?
Yeah, I think it's one of these situations where they're putting a lot of emphasis on the bot lane. And I feel like you kind of have to secure the Ashe's pairing if you want to hear it now. So maybe GENG take Rumble on 3. Or they could end up going in a different direction. You know, Trundle as an option to Xin Zhao. We know Canyon has really liked his Skarner. It does feel weird. Sometimes we get that when the power pick's left open. And it kind of feels like it's a trap being baited. And both teams are like, you know what? We'll just leave it for now. We'll get it in the second rotation.
Garia was smiling and smirking, thought maybe he was going to do something interesting, but it's just Ashe Lulu, as you did expect to see here, Ox. And now,
do we get the Rumble? Do we prio jungle? Is kind of the question here. And they will just go for the Rumble. And this feels especially dangerous because now you can pick the Rumble and ban away any picks that you were worried about taking it into, which, if we're being real, is not many. A lot of the picks into Rumble do neutralize, but we did recently have, it was actually T1 who left the Rumble open, and they had Doran play Yorick into it to great effect.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they want to deal with that, but for now, actually banning away some of the picks that give Ryze a hard time, so maybe T1 end up banning Ryze as a result. Cassiopeia has kind of been stronger in her own right just because of the death by a touch, so we have definitely seen her show up more and more by herself, irrespective of the matchup. Yeah,
something that Chovy has played to great effect, and kind of interesting to see him ban it here, but obviously they don't want to give it over to T1. It does look like, as Trundle going to be banned, a very common answer into the Xin Zhao.
Yeah. There's still a lot of junglers available for Canyon. You know, his Skarner that we talked about, the Pantheon, the Vi, the Nocturne, all options. Interestingly, they banned Cassiopeia then Ryze, so just kind of respecting the Cassiopeia itself, not necessarily using it to set up the Ryze.
Just Deathfire touch things, I guess.
Yeah, both of those champions are using that rune and getting some good value. I do think Cassiopeia a good amount better with it. But we've seen Ryze prior Ryze up since that rune was introduced. And here, do we just throw another ban towards the jungle? Yeah, Vi going to come out. So, as I said, still options for Canyon, but just kind of trimming the pool a little bit. The Vi obviously not fun to deal with when you're playing in a mobile AD carry.
Yeah. Great with the Rumble. Now we do have to see what the jungle is going to be.
You know, the Skarner Rumble combo is so, like, you hold them over the barbecue.
Yeah.
It's such a fun combo.
It's so delicious.
Yeah, and this pick's been kind of seeing more popularity from other players, but originally it was Canyon only playing it, and he was having great success on it. So we'll pick that one up. And now for T1, do we take a tank into the Rumble? Do we take, you know, the Yorick that we saw Doran play before? Looks like he's going to go for that Yorick again. And looking at the TF for Faker, I do feel you feel pretty good about this because the Cassiopeia is gone, who can be a really tough matchup for Twisted Fate. The Rise is gone, who can obviously match that roaming as well. And you're able to have that sort of map-wide impact. Now, what will Chovy play into it is the question.
We have a bunch of top laners hovered, and it's going to be Renekton.
So I think what they're doing is they're putting Rumble mid and putting Renekton into Yorick. You know, when Yorick was really popular, Renekton was the pick that you played into it. You've only really seen Yorick into Jace recently for the most part. But I actually remember it was Doran into Perfect at Road to MSI last year, and Doran absolutely slammed him with the Renekton. Like, it was brutal. It's when we got the whole Kruglord thing coming in, because Doran had the series of his life, plural, and Keen is wanting to put the hit down onto Doran. So this is a really cool flex coming out from GENG. Chovy, we've always talked about him as the mid laner who could just play top lane. So many times he's brought out picks in the mid lane that are top laners, the Cassante, the Set. So bringing out the Rumble here is a lot of skirmishing power into the TF, but also allows his flex to happen and puts a lot of pressure onto Doran in the top lane.
Yeah, it definitely does. I feel like in terms of individual picks, we don't get anything crazy, but a lot of draft shenanigans already. You know, the steal away of the Seraphine, Ezreal Seraphine being played, and then, of course, the big one with the Rumble going into the mid lane, and the Renekton final pick here for Keen, as it was actually counter pick being held for him into the Yorick, kind of baiting out the Yorick pick. As it looks like we're ready to go, as we're going to hop on the Rift for Saturday Showdown, game number 1. Here we go, match 6-7, game number 1. As we are getting into it, Saturday Showdown. And Chovy has gone Ghost in the mid lane.
Honestly, there's a lot of threat. With the Rumble, with Ghost, and Death via Touch, I don't think this is an easy lane for the TF, to be honest. I have to be a little bit cautious. Rumble is just one of those obnoxious lane bullies. And even if the TF outranges him, he can kind of just get up in your face. Is a shorter lane, though, of course. Not as much space to run you down. I think bot lane's going to be interesting as well. The Seraphine has more poke than the Lulu, so there's going to be a good amount of pressure there. And the Ezreal, if you're hitting your skills, a lot of poke. We've seen the Ezreal having great success recently, especially around the level 1. You can see already Willa and Duro have the push in the lane. But I think you can't fully disrespect the Ashe Lulu. If you overstep, there's a lot of sustained damage. See, Faker has the mid lane pressure for now. Level 3 where the Rumble really starts to come online.
Yeah. It's kind of annoying for TF into Rumble, where it's like you can drop a gold card, but the Flame Spitter can still be channeling. So depending on how much range you have on him, how much distance you have away from the Rumble, could definitely change the way the trades do play out. Early on, it's range versus melee, but Rumble generally does pretty well. Unless it's something like an Aurora, which we have seen in the top lane as a counter in the past.
Yeah, also just the Rumble, you can kind of just shield every stun card that's thrown at you and block that burst damage from the TF. And the TF, it's hard to force extended trades because the Rumble has so much damage in those. We can see Canyon 3-0 on the Skarner, so even though we've seen other players pick it and it has actually lost games in the LCK, he is still undefeated on that pick. So
Owner?
Owner 8-0. It's kind of crazy.
He is the Xin Zhao player.
Yeah, I mean, especially given that this is a great composition for Xin Zhao in terms of what T1 has. You have the Lulu to back him up. You have the Engage from the Ashe and the TF. A lot of setup. Because I think one thing the Xin Zhao can struggle with, he's not the... Lula.
We got a TP coming in. This is going to take quite a while, as they are slowing down Ruler basically forever. He is going to flash away, but Keria has other things in mind as he flashes forward, and that's first blood already for FaZe. We got a 2v2 in the T1 jungle as Chovy's getting in there. as he's overheated, but he's still going to be able to set up the play as Canyon over the wall, and Apaze gonna do enough damage, but immediately he falls as Chovy really kind of unchecked in this fight, it does look like, as eventually he does get polymorph, but again, the TF just doesn't have the damage to cut through the shields as Chovy will stand at the end.
Does end up being GENG who found the advantage overall. It was really close, a pretty hectic skirmish coming through. But I think there's so much power from the Skarner and the Rumble. These two champions just have insane base damages. So what happens here is the TP comes in, and Duro and Ruler know they have to get out. They put some damage back in Apaze, but they can't stick around, and they just get run down by the slows. But meanwhile, on this top side, Canyon slides through the wall to get CC on Owner, and the base damages of the Rumble and the Skarner are just kind of absurd. So Owner gets bursted through, Faker's trying to kite away, they do get the backup, and Pei's barrier keeps them alive for long enough so they can turn the kill around. But this Rumble is still such a problem here, and as more and more members fall and there's less and less damage available, Chovy just keeps rotating the scrap shield and still has so much sustained damage in these fights. So it's a slight edge to GENG. I also think we have to kind of look at where the gold has gone, because although there was like kills for Canyon and Chovy, which is great, Pei's managed to get a lead over Ruler thanks to the kill he picked up. So a slight advantage for GENG overall, but not always evenly distributed.
I feel like also in the 2v2, like if Canyon wasn't there, if it was just a 2v2, we saw Ruler go very aggressively with the shift over the wall, and that's really where his trouble started. I feel like he did it because Canyon was there, so it's kind of hard to take the 2v2 in isolation, but very over-aggressive there as Doran is going to get harassed out quite a bit here, but nice ghoulie wall to keep Keen in check.
Yeah, it was a good ghoulie wall, and also Keen dashed kind of towards the wall rather than deeper into the lane. That gave a lot of space for Doran to get away. Doran, that was definitely a window you were under a lot of threat when you didn't have 6, and he did. Oh. Okay, Fake is fine. Yeah, one thing as well is Ruler took cleanse, and I feel like this is something I always discuss when you're playing into Ashe. I mean, there's Ashe TF here, but often it's Ashe Seraphine.
Oh, here we go again. Ruler gonna have to shift away. Looks like he is okay.
The cleanse is great value into that CC and will help keep you alive in team fights, but in those little skirmishes there and in lane, not having the barrier just means you have a lot less durability. And if you think if Ruler had the barrier in that last skirmish, could have survived longer, got some more damage back, pace was already quite low. But obviously this is going to do him a lot of favors later on, and also puts less emphasis on Duro to pick up a Mikhail's first. Means he can go towards those core items of the Helia and the Diadem that are so powerful now. GENG will be able to pick up this first dragon. It is an Ocean. I feel like early Ocean always feels great. Oh,
we got a TF on the way as the stun is going to come in, but he does have flash.
Faker, no mana.
Yeah, he is going into this one as the equalizer comes down from Chovy, and Faker will be free food for Keen. Meanwhile, Chovy looking for more, but the ghoulie
that's a great wall.
Perfect.
Yeah, no flash in Chovy, so you can't really circumvent that. Doran mitigating that play quite well, but Faker going very aggressive without the mana or the damage really to back up the play, and very quickly gets punished for it. So we see Keen's low, and they actually see Faker moving. So Chovy just starts following. Keen does a good dash there to get away. You see the Global miss from Doran gets avoided by the flash, and then Faker's too deep. He even has flash himself, but he's so deep that he knows it's not even worth using. He's just dead. The equalizer was great, the position against the wall, and just a bit of an unforced error from T1 there, but a great answer by GENG's mid lane.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit worried for T1 in this game specifically, because Chovy is going unchecked here on the Rumble. It's another Deathfire Touch champion. It's Chovy playing Rumble. He's got a kill and 2 assists already. He doesn't have a massive lead, but it's against TF, so, you know, that's to be expected. If you have a lead against TF, you have to like your chances.
It's so crazy that Rumble's just been better and, like, super high prow for the longest time. Oh, they are looking for Owner.
And Kenny kind of awkwardly gets over the wall, and he's like, well, I guess I'm going to flash away. Now the arrow comes in, and Chovy is in a lot of trouble. He doesn't have his flash just yet as the blue card comes out, and now the Impale onto 2. Canyon just helping out there a bit as Doran now trying to help out. The Glob goes in, and now Chovy caught in the ghoulie wall, and they dive on a Canyon too. And I suppose I shouldn't have been too worried for T1 as they execute a great play in mid.
Yeah, great setup there, and Doran coming in on the flank. really allows them to put the pain in and clean up those kills. We do see plates picked up in the top bot lane by Ruler and Keen, so there is some cost to this roam down, this move, but a very successful play for T1. Canyon goes over the wall, but doesn't actually commit onto Owner. And then they start backing away. The arrow coming through, I assume there was signaling from the bot lane that, you know, Kerry and Pays are moving, we have to back off. Maybe the top lane as well, and that's why GENG didn't want to commit to the play. Then Chovy here, his flash is nearly up, but not quite. The Ghoulie wall is such a problem in that situation. And Faker landing the stun card onto Canyon. It's a 5-man play from T1, but it goes off very successfully. And it is able to get them to equalize the game here. Now Canyon's moved straight onto these grubs. And looks like he'll be able to get these uncontested. Yeah, the thing I was saying before is it's crazy that Rumble was just meta for the longest time, like permaban status. Yeah. And then they added a rune that syncs with them so well.
Here we go again. Faker trying to make a play, this time on the bot side. Just going to go for Duro, who doesn't have the cleanse. Faker tanks this one up, allows Owner to get in, as Ruler is going to flash towards Owner. But no aggro here. The equalizer does quite a bit to Owner, as now Ruler going to pick up 2, and Chovy is here. And he is going to have to back away with TP's coming in, but now Doran in a bit of a rough spot. As he does flash, he is trying to just shake them off, but I think the damage is just too much, and the rest of T1 being pulled into the fight as well. Pays desperate for a kill, not gonna get it, and Ruler picks up 2 more.
Massive win for GENG there. 2k gold lead just off the back of that play, and Ruler monstrously fared as a result of this. This is kind of what we expect from T1 and Faker, roaming, making these plays on the map, making the moves, but Chovy keeps following. Yes, he's further behind. Yes, it's going to take some time. But T1 go for the redive onto Ruler, and this equalizer ends up costing them so much. Connects onto both Owner and Carrier, makes it really awkward for them. And notice how he disengages from this, but because the TP from Doran is so deep, Carrier and Pays have to kind of move in to help him. And this Renekton with the ultimate is just such a major threat here. They're trying to burn through him, trying to get the damage down. And Pays just doesn't quite manage to finish off Keen there. So close. The cleanup comes in. And, you know, there's a 700 gold lead for Ruler. I will say Pays has picked up a lot of kills as well, so it's not as big as it could be. But now we have a 1,000 gold lead in the top lane as well. Keen and Ruler extremely fed off the back of these plays. It's going to be a big problem in the mid game where these champions really spike.
Yeah, I like how you keep mentioning, you know, Chovy on the roam. We've seen so many times against a TF. It's either, okay, I'm going to pick Rise or Galio or Silas or something to follow the TF in that manner. And if you don't, you're kind of just like, well, he's bot, I'm just going to push mid. But Chovy's like, no, this play is going to extend for quite a while. I will get value eventually. And Rumble has that long-range ult to help out from at least a little bit extra range, and really has been helping out in both of the side lane plays. Now we have the second dragon up. It looks like GENG after that play probably just going to look to stack double dragons here. And Ocean into Cloud means that you've got a good chance at a pretty good soul.
Yeah, definitely in this situation, a lot of good options available. Looks like T1 not going to contest this right now as well. Not feeling super strong, and you can kind of get it. You know, Triforce completed for Ruler. I know the Hex Optics is there for Pays, but I feel like the Ashe does need more items to come online.
Just Hex Sec. Soul.
It's a pretty good soul, especially with this composition, with an Ezreal with all the poke he has, able to land those slows. Faker as well, you know, he's been setting up all these plays, moving around, but 0 stack Dark Seal, just a Catalyst, and the completed boots. He himself doesn't have that much power. It's very much around the setup, and it feels really bad that he's being proactive. Good eye for when to go for these plays, but just the timing is not quite quick enough to pull them off and get away. And Chovy's been there to answer time and time again. This mid lane Rumble working out. Highest kill participation on the side of GENG at 7 out of 9.
And you can see here in the top lane, Keen's got a level lead. He's got this massive gold lead as well. We know what has happened in the game, but also you do have to go back to the draft with the really nice swapperoonie with the Rumble into mid. Doran was very much expecting to play into Rumble in this game. Instead, he has to play against Keen's gigantic Renekton. So it's not going to be a fun time for the Yorick, especially from behind. So you don't have pressure in that top lane for your Yorick, which was a key part of this composition for T1.
Yeah, you can, you know, T1's composition very much would love to just play, especially further on. Oh, well, it doesn't quite have cleanse.
Yeah, I mean, they're going pretty deep for this one, but he doesn't have flash, doesn't have cleanse, and with 3 members of T1, that's a big shutdown for FaZe.
Look at the cleanse. It's now available. And whenever I see someone dying in a situation like that where the summoners are seconds away, I always think, you know, T1 must have had really clean timers. Throwing the arrow at Ruler just before his cleanse comes available, managed to pick him off, and unfortunately only now has the summoner. So a good pick from them, and another kill for FaZe. Actually puts him ahead in gold off his counterpart.
Yeah, we actually have the exact timer from production. Cleanse was 6 seconds away. So unlucky, I guess, Ruler. But
yeah,
as you mentioned, really good timers.
I think sometimes, you know, if it was a one-up, you know, if this happens in solo queue, you can like, maybe it was just lucky. But when it happens with pro teams so frequently, and T1 in particular, definitely feels calculated, able to find this angle onto Ruler. And it must be frustrating from his point of view. I feel like in that scenario, you do hit the cleanse button, and you're like, man, because it's almost lit up.
Yeah.
But not able to find it there.
Yeah, it's a really nice pick for the side of FaZe just to kind of equalize the golds. And I mean, this Ashe, especially with the Lulu, is going to be very strong in this game. They're going to need him to be strong because he will be a large portion of the damage.
Yeah, and there's a pretty bulky front line from GENG. You know, Rumble being an AP bruiser, the Skarn obviously very tanky, the Renekton as well. You're going to need FaZe to shred through them for these team fights to go successfully. That being said, T1, I was kind of talking about before, definitely can play through the side lanes as well, at least was the plan. But I think with Keen being such a threat, might make things more difficult. You can see right now, it's Faker holding off the Renekton, and it's Yorick into Rumble, which I think other matchups T1 does feel better about, having that Yorick into the pick they expected to play it into. But for now, we are seeing the Herald being started up. And T1 not looking to contest, and it's Grubs, it's the first 2 Dragons, it's now Herald. GENG have just had a complete monopoly on these neutral objectives.
Yeah, like it's not a game-breaking lead that they have, but it's a very comfortable one when they're just able to take everything on the map, and of course the Renekton is very fed. And yeah, just quieting things down. I think we are going to have a fight here for this next Drake. You can see that T1 are already trying to move as 3. It's actually the same 3 that got the kill on a Ruler, so just kind of roaming around the map together and allowing, you know, the Yorick and the TF to play sides. Definitely the way you want to play it here for T1.
I think there's such an easy opportunity for T1's composition to get behind someone like Duro. Duro goes to ward, and you can just appear behind him with the TF, set up with an Ashe arrow. Ruler does have his summoners back, has the cleanse. I mean, everyone has their summoners, apart from Carrier's heal and Faker's TP, so I think Duro is a pretty easy target if you can get behind him. But right now, Keen is on top of Faker, and he's taking a good amount of damage. We'll be able to gold card and walk away, but playing against this Renekton, who's 2 levels up, doesn't feel too fun right now. Gonna go for a reset here.
I don't know if Keen will be very killable in these fights when it does come down to it. I mean, unless he is really putting his face into it and spends a lot of time with an Ashe.
Ruler just completed his Merman. It's not quite fully stacked. Not sure if he'll be able to get it up in time for the fight, but it's a pretty big 2-item spike.
I feel like as Ezreal, you can see, like, maybe if you keep this wave around for him and he casts a bunch of abilities and then maybe hit some Qs.
It's more just on the item cooldown. He's still 24 stacks away. Start up the Dragon.
T1 are just bursting this one down, but Canyon is in there, not able to hit the smite. As now Keen, can you deal with the Crocodile? That is what we need to see, as a big equalizer going to get them along the wall, and the Encore is there as well. They take down Doran, and that's going to be what GENG get out of this fight, but T1 at least are able to pick up the Dragon.
They're looking for more.
Yeah, I mean, this is just one weak turret down on the bottom side of the map. You got to be careful about diving into a TF, though, but Faker already going to take a bit of damage. Flash comes in. There's the stun, as Keen also getting ahead of himself, but that's Chovy now in the back line. Nobody to answer him, but Pace does take him down this time. Not exactly the cleanest, but they do get it done in the end. 2 more kills for Ruler on the board.
GENG could have easily walked towards mid lane. They had the path to get over there without T1 being able to cut them off. They could have just taken mid tower, but they saw blood in the water and opt to go for the cleanup instead. We see T1 have control. They want to force this immediately and manage to secure the dragon. But then Keen comes in, disengage from Ona's really nice to get the Renekton out. This equalizer into the Encore does so much work, and honestly, if not for some good flashes from T1, it could have been absolutely devastating for them. But then here, GENG opt to continue. Instead of moving towards mid, taking that tower for free, they go for the play here. And we see Keen very aggressively putting forward, sacrificing himself. The rest of T1 move to respond, and then Canyon slides in. It gets a bit messy here, because Ona gets a lot of healing that keeps him alive long enough to take down Duro. But Ruler's basically untouched and just pumping out damage throughout this fight. He's now hit that 2-item spike with a completely stacked Manamune in 6, 2, and 4. I mean, both AD carries with a lot of gold right now.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Paze. He was desperately trying to pump out the damage underneath the turret, and they're basically on the same amount of damage dealt to champions, the 2 AD carries, and a lot does hinge on especially the T1 AD carry to output that damage.
You know what's crazy is that we went into last fight with all flashes up, and we come out of it with every single flash burn apart from Doran in that passage of play. Yeah. So both teams throwing everything at that to try and navigate their way through it. It's GENG with a gold lead. Yes, T1 stopped them from getting that dragon, stopped the dragon stacking towards the soul. But GENG feels like they really have the pressure right now, and a lot of the champions spiking super hard right now.
I mean, Faker is not even up in the lane. He's just kind of near his turret, but still the Skarner power shown here by Canyon, able to get over the wall, and it's not much that Faker can do.
Yeah, one of the big strengths of the Skarner is being able to circumvent that terrain and just end up coming from behind the Twisted Fate. He'd already used the stun card onto the Rumble, didn't have any way of preventing Canyon from getting onto him. And it's just more gold into the pockets of GENG. Should be able to pick up this tower as well if they want it. It looks like Chobi's just going for the recall.
Yeah, it appears as if they don't want it at this point in time. We do have a Mortal Reminder third here, actually already completed for Paze. Definitely going to be key into Seraphine, but also into Renekton.
Skarner as well.
Even Skarner, yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely the right item.
A lot more Mortal Reminder than LDR recently. There is a decent amount of healing going around. They're obviously missing out on that extra damage amp for some of these tankier targets. Yeah, 1:30 till Dragon. Honestly, feels like we just had that last Dragon fight, but we're going right back into it. Those flashes will be coming up for that.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like deja vu, especially with Ruler backing. He might be able to pick up an item here with those two components. Yeah, Spirit Shojin, that's going to be his third item, as the AD carries on item parity in terms of amounts. Right before this Dragon fight, just a minute to go.
We saw the team fighting power of GENG's composition with the Equalizer, with the Encore, what that can do to T1. I feel like T1, it's very much around playing around like the stun card, the polymorph, dealing with threats who move in. But it can be hard when there's just so many of these threats looking towards you. Right now, this time, it's GENG who have more setup in the area. You can see the vision they've got. We have some shallow control wards in their own jungle from T1. If they want to contest this, they need to push in. And Ona's only making his way over now, just finished his second item. We can see, though, Canyon on 3 items. And I know his items are cheaper. He has the Protoplasm and the Final Pipes, very cheap items, but definitely feels good to have that lead and be able to just have an entire completed item over your counterpart.
Yeah, also just the randoms into an Ashe feels just pretty much perfect for him in this next fight. And the Dragon has spawns. Again, GENG do have full control over this. I suppose there is a world where T1 say, okay, it's not the soul, we got the one, we delayed it already. So maybe we just give this one away.
It puts so much pressure on the next Dragon, though. And T1 will use this time. They don't want to waste it. They will put some effort towards getting vision around Baron, but not really in a position to start up the Baron. There is Bishop Raj going to come through. There's the Scuttle Crab already cleared in the area. Didn't really have the control to be able to go for that. A Gromp is taken. That is the trade-off value. I think GENG happy to get a Dragon for that.
Faker going to be hit by this one, as now the harpoons come out, and the damage out of this Rumble is just disgusting. As the flash comes out, and that is an easy solo kill for Chovy in the side lane.
Yeah, and considering T1's composition, definitely feels like the one that wants to play through the sides. You just can't match up as this TF into the likes of the Rumble. That Rocket Belt allowing him to close the gap as well. Solo kill comes through. We kind of talked about the Ghost, you know, not being as relevant in the shorter lane of the mid lane, but in these long, extended lanes with towers down, can just run you down in that manner. GENG in a great position right now. 4,000 gold lead, 3 dragons out of 4. Everything kind of seems to be going in their favor.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about, you know, with the nice swamperoonie with the Rumble into the mid lane, is that in the side lanes, you don't really have a good option as T1, as Chovy just rounds the bend. Okay. He says, I'll look for the kill. And we got a fight in live, actually, over the Raptors. Canyon is taking a huge amount of damage from Pace, even with all of those items, as now the Impale goes on to Owner, and he is isolated from the rest of the team, just taking out Keen with the flash stun, but that's only going to hit Keria, who is trying to go into the Hex Gate to get away. He's got Chovy right behind him, though, as they're just going to start up the Baron after this pick. I mean, Owner is dead, and eventually Keria also will be dead as Chovy gets another kill, and that should be Baron here for GENG.
This was a fight started when Chovy didn't even have Equalizer. They go for the Goddess. Now they're looking to contest. This is very aggressive.
I mean, it's essentially 3v5. You don't really have an angle, and now Chovy's right here. Pace is alone. There's nobody to help him, and eventually T1 will just scatter and die as GENG will pick up the pieces. They also got the Baron. So they get the objective, they get the bonus kills as T1 decide to try to go for the fight, which was quite confusing, and GENG will just win off of the back of that.
Yeah, I mean, the initial fight, you kind of get, they thought they had a pick opportunity. Chovy didn't have Equalizer. They thought maybe they could find a window there. You can see them setting up in this position onto Canyon, but Canyon's just so tanky. And has the flash to get away. Protoplasm comes through as well. And then this is why I feel like the Skarner does so well into Xin Zhao. Just holds him still. And when he's still stationary, you can just walk inside the Crescent Guard and kill him. There's no real threat from him if you're moving up inside. And then here, this is where I think it went from bad to worse. T1 up to contest this, but Chovy's position on this flank just means there's no way you're getting out of this Pace. Trying to go for the 1v1 against Ruler, but Canyon up in his face doesn't make it easy. They chase down Faker, they chase down Doran. The Ghoul nearly kills Ruler, but he shifts away. And then here, Doran puts down the Ghoulie wall, and Canyon's like, I'm playing Skarner. I can just walk through it.
Yeah. Skarner getting huge amounts of value, the Rumble getting huge amounts of value. And, I mean, Ruler was kind of the one that was really fed and scary in this game, but, you know, not even really the main character after all of this. Just feels like GENG as a team are so far ahead that there has not been a good answer here for T1. And now at this point, I mean, 8,000 gold to lead. You've got the Baron buff here as GENG. And it's pretty much clinical from GENG once again. This is them back in form. This is what we expected to see right from the beginning of the season.
And one of the big things is, if you want to start a fight, it's probably going to be off the back of a Ash Arrow. Oh, Equalizer comes down.
Yeah, there's the extension as well! As it's able to use the Rumble to get all the way through and take them down.
I mean, that was just beautiful. You know, extending the Encore, hits the targets into the Impale from the Skarner. GENG is playing it in phenomenal form right now, looking to end.
And they will do exactly that. Doran is like, well, I thought I was going to play the Yorick into the Rumble and have a good time. He was not able to have a good time in this game. GENG stopped them here in game number 1. There were some moments earlier on for T1, but after that, GENG in total control to take down the first game of Saturday's Showdown.
Yeah, GENG kind of just suffocating T1 out after they got that advantage. I feel like the draft as well, flexing the Rumble to mid lane, not something we've seen before this year. And Chovy just demonstrating his wide pool, dipping into the toes of some of these top lane picks to great effect. T1 just didn't really have a response. Also, the Encore Equalizer Impale combination, just ruthless to go up against. So, a strong start from GENG in this one. And T1 not able to find their way back into that game. But hopefully we'll be able to find their way back into this series.
You can see that Faker was very much trying to see what he could see in the replay. Not every day that he's, in there and holding the mouse and trying to control things in the booth, but got to see a little piece of that there.
It's interesting as well because it was GENG who banned the Cassiopeia and the Rise, which are picks that are pretty good into TF. It's almost like they set it up like, hey, this is a great spot for TF, why didn't you pick it? And then Jovi having a great time on the Rumble in that matchup, getting that solo kill as well in the side lane on pretty terrific form right now.
Yeah, draft masterclass and a great game as well from GENG to take it down 1-0 here in Saturday Showdown as we'll head into the break.
이거 못 잡나? 나이스. W 8초.
이번 턴에 나 여기 시야 세게 먹을게.
나이스.
괜찮아?
야, LCK 작전 나왔고 한번 깔아봄.
나 한번 봐줘.
생겼어.
야, 특패까지?
투패도 또.
트페 노플.
이거 빠르다. 나
쌀-
스킬 없고.
끝낼만한데?
끝낼만해.
그냥 여기서 게임 끝나도 돼.
나 만화 없고.
나 미칼 돼.
야, 타워 치다가 들어오면 돼.
여기 플리즈 먼저 써줘요, 그냥.
내가 먼저 요리 때려줄게, 앞으로 나.
얘네 여기 단오플이야. 단오플.
한번 빼면서.
단오플.
끝내자.
Our pick shenanigans from GENG after that. And at the moment, I mean, GENG, they look like they're back in form. And unless T1 can prove that they can actually go toe-to-toe with this team in game number 2 here, it might just be GENG taking this Saturday Showdown.
Yeah, we've had so many 2-0s recently. It's kind of been the theme, just 2-0s on repeat. We haven't had a single 6-game day yet this season. But if there's any series I'm hoping goes to 3, it's this one. GENG now on first pick side will ban the Bard again. I feel like they have a lot more freedom to do so on this side. It is Vi banned by T1 here. There's still the likes of Lucian, Jarv, and Karma open that were banned last time. So see if any of those get through. Lucian ban comes in, especially if you're trying to prioritize the Jarvan. I think that's a lot of value. Obviously, one of those AD carries who can get out the Cataclysm. Ezreal's already gone. So I think GENG could be leaning towards a Jarvan first pick. Will T1 ban it, or will they go for the Karma instead?
I'd say I think you need to take Karma away. I think she's just too strong, especially with, game 2 coming along and some options for the bottom lane taken away. You still have Caitlyn and Jhin available for Karma lanes. They're going to disagree with me and go for the Jarvan ban. So we'll see how that works out for them.
It's going to be a tricky lane, most likely, but this obviously alleviates some of the pressure in team fights and also just the pressure of the Jarvan, particularly in ganking bot lane where there's a mobile picks there. Cataclysm so effective, so the assumption is GENG prioritize the Karma here, and they will do so. As you said, a lot of pairings are still good. You don't get Ezreal Karma, but you can have Kate Karma, Jhin Karma. And the question is, what will T1 look to answer that with? With obviously the Lulu being taken out. Nico's a pick that we saw Karma often picked as a counter into. Gives a lot of trouble in lane. Carriers, Nico's been pretty excellent, but it does make that option a bit tricky. You could go maybe like Caitlyn Lux here into it. Obviously denies the Caitlyn pairing with the Karma. It's probably going to be like Caitlyn Lux into Jhin Karma, I would assume. There are other pairings you can do with the Caitlyn though. That one seems like a bit of a classic for carrier.
Yeah, a lot of thought going into this. I feel like Keria, you know, it's about time to pull out one of his picks and try to warp the game around him. He played Lulu in game 1. He played it well, but it's Lulu. Not going to pick it just yet, actually. Going to go ahead and take the Lee Sin first.
Yeah, going to Lee Sin, which, you know, Lee Sin can pair up well with a lot of the supports that pair up with Caitlyn. You want a CC setup support to go with the Caitlyn, and that also helps out the Lee Sin. That being said, we've seen so often, like, Annie Lee Sin be really strong, and I feel like you have to pick the support with Caitlyn here, which means you won't be able to pick the Annie to pair up with the Lee Sin. Don't have the opportunity. It is just going to be Jin Karma, no real surprise there. And then, what does GENG opt to prioritize here? Are they going to match in the jungle? They hover the Lux. I think they know what T1 is expected to pick in this situation.
Maybe it's a little too obvious. Maybe we get something else. But, yeah. GENG know it. Everybody knows it.
Maybe the Pantheon could come through. Actually going to go for the Scion here instead for Keen. Expecting that, you know, with the likeliness that T1 just pick Lux here, or even if it's not Lux, then probably Annie. I feel like T1 don't really have the space to pick a top laner into the Scion right now, so they feel like they could just take that pretty freely and have that big bulky front line. I expect it to be the Lux, but it's Carrier. He can always go in a bit of a different direction.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you know, we could have seen a whole host of different things, but they do want to go for the premium duo with the Caitlyn and the Lux.
Yeah.
Which means no Annie.
So I imagine they should just trim down the jungle pool. Because I think GENG's probably going to ban Annie. You know, if you were able to guarantee the Annie, then you'd probably ban Aurora, but I think it'd just be a wasted ban here because GENG will just ban Annie themselves. And also, maybe like the Ryze as well is good for T1. So maybe GENG go like Ryze Annie bans, I think would make a good amount of sense. That being said, there's still a lot of picks for Chovy that are good into Ryze. So perhaps you're fine with them taking it, as Chovy can go for the likes of Anivia or Cassiopeia, especially as you've already got the Scion there, so you don't necessarily need to save Keen's pick till later. Although I guess you pick on the same rotation for GENG. Gwen comes through, so just protecting the Scion right now and banning some things away from Doran. I do still think the Annie ban would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it's a good shout. Maybe Chovy says, well, I can handle a Ryze, so maybe we take away the Annie and the Gwen.
Yeah.
But Gwen, definitely a common answer into Scion if the Scion gets blinded. I don't feel like it's had a ton of success. There's the Cassiopeia ban, so they say, well, we're looking to play some Ryze here.
I feel like the Cassiopeia ban is pretty good, even if you expect the Ryze.
Yeah.
The thing is, for T1, they also have last pick, so they could pick that top lane on 4 and then go the Ryze last, but I wouldn't put it past Chovy just to pick Anivia, just in a preventative sense. I think the Annie ban makes a lot of sense here. Could also ban the Ryze, but we've seen Chovy play that Anivia so many times before. They do go for the Ryze ban here, which I think is a bit of a surprise to me.
See, banned a decent amount into Faker, so maybe some respect shown there as well, but should maybe be that Annie Lee Sin combo, but gonna get the top laner here to deal with Scion.
Yeah, considering the options, obviously, just gonna go for the Ornn. I was thinking if you wanted a bit more pressure, you know, there is picks like the Gnar available, but just gonna match tank for tank. And honestly, with the ornaments being able to give out, be given out to your teammates, even a bit of extra scaling there. And now GENG. Is this scenario where Chovy just denies the Annie himself? Could he just go the Aurora expecting the Annie? Could he even just go
Annie Wukong?
Annie Wukong's really strong. And it denies that Annie away from Faker. I think it's pretty heads up to take it away.
We've seen Graves hovered so much. We have not seen
such a canyon pick to take this, though. I think Annie Wukong is what we'd expect, and they do go through with it. This was kind of the duo that ran the Legend Ryze groups. Ryze group in particular, but both groups saw a lot of success from this last year. They will commit to this. And now what is Faker going to take? Ideally, I mean, Aurora is what you typically expect into Annie. But instead, looking towards the Anivia. Anivia, I feel like, very good into Sion at disrupting him. I feel like it's so hard to teamfight on Sion well into an Anivia. It gives this composition a ton of control. The setup for the Lee Sin is not as reliable as a point-and-click stun on the Annie, but still pretty good. I think the matchup is pretty good into Annie as well. So, for T1, a lot of control in their composition. They want to get set up on an objective early. They have the Caitlyn traps, they have the Anivia wall, they have layered CC with the follow-up from the traps of the Lee Sin. But for GENG, they have that movement speed, the Annie Wukong combo to engage, and then you just have the Jhin ult to follow up. That being said, Doran potentially can block those. I think T1 should be pretty happy with what they've got, but GENG definitely have some solid responses, and it really comes down to... I feel like a lot of it's going to come down to the bot lane 2v2, which jungler can make an impact there, because expect to see it pretty close.
It says into the tiger's mouth. That is exactly what we're seeing here.
So sad. So devastated. As you'd imagine. Well, that kind of felt like how game 1 went, but a chance in game 2 to bounce back. And I think the tools that they really need. You know, Carry on his classic locks. We've seen him time and time again, that playmaking potential, and has the setup for the rest of the team. You land one bit of CC, and you know it's going to be layered. There's going to be more CC to follow. It's going to be quite hard, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun here for game number 2. As we're ready, let's hop onto the Rift. Here we go. Game number 2 of match 6-7. And, of course, Saturday Showdown, very deserving of such a honor to be match number 6-7.
You think they planned it?
What?
You think they planned it?
Yes.
They're like T1 vs GENG, Saturday Showdown. We'll just ensure that it's a specific match number.
Definitely. Yeah, all plans. I just hope it's not a 2-0. You know, we almost had the full 2-0 week last week. And then KMDRX won a game against Hamalife Esports at their homestand. And that was good. That was good, but we almost got, you know, a full only 20 matches, or games rather. We've already had one best of 3 go 3. That was also KMDRX against KT. As Faker does this very often with his Anivia, plays ultra aggressive and utilizes the egg as kind of a second health bar. His heal's going to be used here just to get away from the binding. As in goes Faker, gonna get the flash out of Jovi.
Yeah, Jovi, oh.
Ooh, binding is going to sail wide into the mid.
That was close. That could have just been a kill on the back of that. You can see Carrier and Paige doing a pretty good job already of having the pressure here. This is a matchup where the Karma and the Jhin could definitely fight back, but Carrier's just been so clean, dodging away from the Qs from the Karma. I feel like it's one of those things where the skill shots of both, I mean, the main thing is the E from the Lux and the Q from the Karma are so easy to land, but if you dodge them, the opposition can just get so much pressure in return. And Carrier's been doing a pretty good job of that. Ruler also going cleanse.
One wall could kill Jovi here as the stun comes in, and there's the Sonic Wave. One stun into Owners, not going to stop the Lee Sin, and First Blood set up very nicely in mid lane.
Beautifully set up by Faker, not just on this wall and stun here, but also binning the flash earlier allows Owner to make his way in and clean up this kill. So good start here for the mid jungle of T1. Yeah, as I was saying, Ruler going the cleanse here, not as much power in the trades. But we'll be able to get him out of the CC later if needed. That wall, Jovi's pathing looked so weird there. Not sure quite what happened there. Looked like he was trying to... His character was trying to decide which way to go.
Yeah, it almost looked like he got stuck in the wall for a moment.
Yeah, like he got frozen. Which would thematically make sense.
Yeah.
Typically, though, fire type good against ice type.
Do you think Anivia ever thinks of herself as like an Elsa type?
Yes.
You've seen Frozen, right?
Yes, I've seen Frozen.
Have you seen Frozen 2?
Actually, no, I haven't.
What?
You've seen Frozen 2?
Yeah. I think I even saw it in theaters.
Whoa. Okay, you got a bit of a super
I'm
fan
not
over
even,
here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
No,
not
I
even
see how it
that
is.
into it.
Who's your
I don't
favorite
know.
character?
Olaf. I don't know. I'm kind of
Like Olaf from League of Legends?
I'm pretty basic when it comes to like favorite characters. I don't know. I don't have to go for like the big brain bass guy, you know, where it's like, yeah, if you like him, you're really cool. I don't know. I just like the funny little snowman.
No, I'm okay with that. You're okay to like the funny little snowman in my books, Brendan.
So apparently, Jisun hasn't watched Frozen at all. OMG.
Wow.
But her English name was once Anna?
You know what's crazy is that Wadid was saying the other day he'd never seen Cars. And I was like, come on.
No, that was me.
Wait, you've never seen Cars?
Yeah, we had this discussion on
I was like, you know
Cast.
what? I was in such disbelief that I was like, no way, it couldn't have been Brendan. Yeah,
No,
that's crazy.
it was
You've seen Frozen 2 and you haven't seen Cars? Come on, Brendan.
You know, my my son, he's about 18 months old. He just got a Cars t-shirt. It's got Lightning McQueen on it. I know his name now.
Oh, you've learned his
Yeah.
name because of the T-shirt?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, first from you telling me his name, and then I saw it. I'm like, yeah, you know, that's him. That's the real name. It's a very cute t-shirt.
I'm sure.
Big fan.
Well, if you're a big fan, then you would have watched the film, but, you know. Been pretty slow early game so far, other than that one kill in the mid lane.
Yeah, so Jisun also hasn't watched Cars.
Okay.
Maybe Cars isn't as prolific as you imagined. Maybe not everybody has seen Cars.
I think most people.
I don't think so.
Jovi gonna drop Tibbers here, and Faker pretty low. No egg, remember?
Yeah. He's still
Oh,
gonna get
actually,
away, though.
it just came up now, so now he does have egg. Bit of safety there. Dragon up and available, but it is Hex Tech, which I always feel like you see the Hex Tech Dragon, you're like, well, no Hex Tech Soul. Bit unfortunate.
Yeah.
Actually, Faker go on the Electrocute. We've seen some. I feel like we saw a little bit of Deathfire Touch first with Anivia when it came out, and then we saw the move back to Electrocute. Chovy does have the Electrocute, though. Sorry, the Deathfire Touch. So, Punch has been... You know what I find really difficult is we have Deathfire Touch and Blackfire Torch, and they're both burn things. And I keep second-guessing which one it is, and which one I'm saying.
I have not heard you say it incorrectly yet, so...
But I
think
every
you're
time I
kind of-
say it, I'm like, was that the right way? Is it Blackfire Touch and Deathfire Torch?
No.
Well,
It's not. So your second guessing is working.
okay.
You're doing a great job, Ox.
Thank you.
As your Ice Tea said, you know, you're going to get a lot of compliments today.
Wow, it's coming true.
So I'm trying to make it happen. Yeah, are we just going back to tank versus tank in the top lane? I don't think so, but...
I mean, Sion's been super successful so far in the LCK. His win rate's great, and I feel like he's just such a brick wall against so many teams. But a lot of the times we see him, it's like Jason to Sion. Here, I feel like you're actually just matching that scaling tank in the top lane in kind. Oh, Carrier doesn't.
Flash, and he lands it. Gonna get the cleanse out of Ruler
Yeah, I think
already.
he was definitely hoping to get Duro there. I think more threat onto the Karma without cleanse, but we'll burn that summoner.
So we have a picture of Chronicler guy in chat saying they should fire these guys, so unprofessional.
Ironic from the guy who was fired.
The guy who's not here anymore?
Yeah. Interesting he would say that.
Getting heckled from the guy who doesn't even live in Korea anymore.
Yeah, that's how determined he was to get off the broadcast. He just left the continent.
Yeah. Trying to set up something here on a Chovy. I mean, they might be able to get his flash, but I wouldn't imagine they get much else.
Yeah, flash burnt there.
Oh.
Doran using the flash to try and catch him off guard. Ono might be in trouble.
Yeah, just going to face check straight into Canyon and Duro. Kick does come out as the binding not quite going to land, and Carrier might have to pay for the sins of Owner.
I feel like that's so rough for Carrier. You come over to help your jungler, and you just get a Wukong kicked into your face. Thanks for that one, buddy.
And now, I mean, Keen is here. He's not a brick wall yet. He's still Sion, but gonna flash into Owner, looking for the kill in the 1v3. No wall just yet. Owner getting pretty low, and I think eventually Keen will just die. As Chovy does come over, he takes a look, and he's like, yeah, you're dead.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Keen could have just gotten out there. He could have just gone for the flash ult away. Once the wall is down from the Anivia, for sure you could have looked for that angle. Instead goes for the kill and just isn't able to find it. This is kind of what I was talking about. Anivia makes Sion's life so miserable. And T1 starting off with an early lead here. Winning both solo lane summoners as well, which allows them to potentially look for some setup a bit later on. We've seen bot lane, FaZe and Carry are the ones with the advantage in this matchup. I feel like the Jin Karma has the tools to really contest this, but I think FaZe Carry are just kind of outplaying in the 2v2 so far, getting a ton of plates as well. About a 15 CS lead. And you can see the pressure mounting up. In the meantime, Canyon is just doing these grubs. Ona have to heal up off the grub before he can come over, but they're gone by the time he gets there.
Yeah. Just watching Canyon playing Wukong. Gonna have to hold that thought as here comes Carry on the flank, and Ruler does not have his cleanse anymore. He does have flash. They're looking maybe for Duro here, as Carry are really holding his binding until the last moment, as the flash is good from Duro. But still a good play set up from Carry to get that flash.
You can see him trying to read it and was pretty close with the prediction. In the end, Duro flashing at a bit of a sharper angle, able to get away. The danger if you get hit by this binding is very relevant. I think Duro's probably going towards Mikhail's first just to try and prevent that.
Chovy just gonna find Owner in the jungle. Owner's like, okay, I'm Lee Sin, I jump to my bird.
This is a pretty good read because Ona actually had a Sonic Wave on the red buff.
Uh-oh. Carry is in a lot of trouble. No flash, no heal against a Wukong.
And now FaZe could be in a lot of trouble as well. They even have Tibbers to tank here.
Yeah, and the Jin ultimate. I mean, FaZe, he's got double summoners. I don't think he's going to use either of them. You might as well just take it, and that is going to be Canyon picking up a third kill on the Wukong. Wukong, not a pick we see super often, but every once in a while you get these Wukong games where they just take over.
Yeah, so we see Ona retreating, not wanting to follow the Sonic Wave to his red buff, as he expected the aggression here from the rest of GENG, Canyon being there. Then Carrier just steps too far, gets caught out, the root from Ruler is great, and then here you just knew FaZe was dead. FaZe knew he was dead, all of GENG knew he was dead. Tries to outplay, but there's just not much you can do against the point-and-click CC combined with the Jin ult and the Wukong to clean up. It's still actually a minor gold lead for T1, but a lot of kills onto this Wukong, making Canyon a very real threat right now.
Yeah, gonna be very important, especially, you know, Owner got that first blood and was able to have a good impact very early on in the game, but the Wukong hits level 6 and all of a sudden Canyon is on the map. He's picking up objectives again, got that early Drake, the 3 grubs. Now Owner trying to make that Lee Sin work for him as he is down in the bottom lane. We got a TP coming in as Owner does go pretty deep on this one. We'll get rooted up, but we got 5 members of T1 here. 4 members of GENG, though, as they look for the kick. Just going to kick the clone to the side, and now Doran is in a rough spot. The Sonic Wave is going to land, though, as that is a kill going over to Owner, as we do have Ruler at least picking up one. Nice binding here on a Chovy as Owner goes very deep for that one, but certainly going to enjoy that as Ruler desperately trying to clear this wave. And I think eventually will just die. He gets bound up, and that is going to be the end of him. Even get the kill over to FaZe.
This felt very scrappy from T1, and for a moment I really thought it was going to go pear-shaped, but they're able to clean up the play, clean up the kills, and get a pretty significant advantage on the back of that play. Let's talk about the things that didn't go so great. Owner goes for a kick onto Canyon in a little bit and ends up getting the clone. Even though we get this initial combo from Doran, there isn't really the backup from the rest of T1. There's the clone kick. The ult can't get changed because Doran was rooted, and Ruler flashes in to clean him up. But despite that, there's numbers advantage still for T1. The 1 CC hits onto Chovy, the follow-up is there, and Canyon kind of gives up on the play when it's 4 against 2. Ruler, there's just no way you can really go in this situation. Holds the cleanse as well, kind of just knows he's dead. And in the top side, we saw Keen getting some good farm in return, but it just doesn't really feel worth it for the advantages T1 got on the bot side.
Yeah, I mean, a Sion getting a little bit more farm in between turrets is like whatever. And you're really going to enjoy that extra gold on the FaZe. We do have this Drake about to spawn. Does look like T1 wants to not get double dragoned this time. So they've got a decent amount of setup, but there's a couple of deep wards and TP available for Keen, so GENG could certainly look for some kind of set play here if they find an angle. I mean, it's still a very close game at this point in time as Ruler going to walk straight into the enemy team and just die. Thought he was safe with the Karma. He absolutely was not.
Yeah, no flash available. Owner very decisive with the play. Doesn't feel the need to kick him towards his team. Kicking to the side doesn't matter. It sets up the Sonic Wave and sets up the kill. And now should just be Dragon for T1. GENG posturing like they might contest, but it's a 4v5. Not the easiest to go for.
And you saw Jonas Strong. He's like, well, there is a Wukong down here. But that's about all we have to say about that. As it is Chemtech Soul, by the way. So T1 do get the Drake, but not going to be the highest value. Might not see some gigantic plays over it, as Canyon is still down here. Dorn very tanky. Now Keen is here.
Yeah, Owner and Kerry are moving to cover in this situation. Dorn about half HP, but is quite tanky.
Just going to try to clear the wave, it looks like. And they get the knockup on the Scion. And, well, the wave is cleared. So their goal at the end of the day is secured.
Yeah, and Faker gets some alone time in the top lane in return. So I'll need to answer that. Canyon looking for Pays, but Pays backs off pretty much at the perfect time.
Yeah, that's going to force the TP from Chovy into the top lane as...
Oh, a little bit mistimed there by Faker. And I think that's one thing, is that everyone kind of learned the old TP timing, and even though the new TP's been out for a while, it definitely feels less predictable than the old TP.
Yeah, I feel like that's good. I don't know. Shouldn't just be like free food. Although punishing bad TPs is good. Doran is going to flash away, but the knockup eventually comes out from the Cyclone, and he will be going down. Nice little dive between the two members of GENG.
Yeah, Doran was still low from the earlier play and sticks around. Or not the easiest target to die, but committing the Wukong ult early.
Oh, the binding, it's going to hit. Carrier just doesn't miss. His Owner goes in, and he goes out. The kill also does go over to Pace. Owner in a rough spot here, trying to get over the wall, but he's still going to die to Chovy as Carrier a little bit too passionate for driving, perhaps. So now he is on the run, and you'd have to imagine that eventually he just dies.
Oh, the Rocket Bell.
The Rocket Bell.
The Chovy classic, it feels like. I mean, is there a champion he wouldn't build Rocket Bell on? I don't know, we haven't found it. No, I think he would.
Unlike some others.
So yeah, this initial play set up by Carrier really effectively with the binding here onto Ruler. The follow-ups there, the kill comes in. But then Carrier goes for the Herald, and I think the right play would have been just to kill the tower, but instead he's looking for the knockup. And then he ends up taking that tower hit that's ramped up into so much damage. I think if he just hit the tower, it would have bounced him away. He had flash. I think he just lives.
And they kill the turret.
Sometimes, I mean, he got it anyway. The Herald charged the turret anyway, but I think sometimes you get a little bit too creative with the plays you're trying to set up, and we do see Carrier punished for it. Although now it's 3-1-2 for Pays, a 2,000 gold lead between 80 carries. Caitlyn, Lux, obviously a strong 2v2, but the Jin Karma also is. I feel like if you go in Jin Karma and you've fallen this far behind, it is not a good feeling for GENG.
Yeah, definitely not what they wanted to have happen when they probably pick the Karma, get a nice pairing for it immediately. Even, you know, seeing the Caitlyn Lux written in the draft. And Faker's just down here trying to push another turret. This is kind of what he does. Just playing a pushing champion, clearing waves, farming it up, trying to beat the team over. GENG are like, well, we're just going to push the top wave. And we might be in for a little bit of a slower mid-game with this Chemtech Soul that does come in.
Yeah, I will say, you know, we often talk about the value of the Chemtech Soul. There is some bulky tops, so you're going to get a decent amount of value from it, but like the Karma shields with it are pretty nice, the Scion shields as well, but as you said, not the craziest value. Doran does get his face. Oh.
Pays is trying to like dodge a train and a bus. Like
that was a good response from Pays to stay safe there. Could have been dangerous. Would have been dangerous. Was dangerous. He would have just been dead.
Yeah.
Gets away from it though with a good flash. As I was saying, Doran getting his first ornament in, so expect to see those start getting passed out pretty soon. I mean, that's one thing with the XP boosting of top lane. Really nice for Ornn to get those levels sooner rather than later.
Yeah. You don't see Ornn all that often. You know, we just see so much Scion.
People always said, like, you know, when you get past level 18, the top lane, people are like, oh, imagine if you could get, like, you could skill up your abilities in additional time. Imagine if Ornn just got, like, started to get second round of ornaments. It's like you can give someone on your team a second ornament. How crazy that would be. Then that champion would be pin banned every single game.
I feel like we don't see a lot of games where we have our top laners actually hit level 20, though.
That's true.
So,
but I think the threat of it. I mean, to be fair, if you get to level 20 with an Ornn, I think you're doing pretty good anyway. I don't think it needs that. I think you have a point, but it would be crazy to see. Now, team setting up for this dragon. Canyon's already on it, and T1 are trying to push in. They don't have control initially of the area.
Keen's got a big shield, but he also has to deal with Anivia and traps and bindings and everything from T1. Like, he just doesn't get to play the game. As eventually the Timber's very nice here from Chovy, stopping that Ornn as the kick kind of helping the Scion. Chovy going to take a bit of damage, but this is going to be a Drake that goes to GENG. And not much loss for it. The stun into Faker as he face checks. And now Canyon is in that backline. Pays super low, but he lives. Keen trying to get the kill on Scion. And he will be able to take out the Caitlyn. As now the Jhin ultimate rings true. And T1 on the run. The Roots is going to be denied. But they get the flash out of Doran, and GENG turn up big again.
I think there's two sides to this. One is you saw how miserable it looked for Keen. Just being CC'd. Like, rooted in place, blocked by the wall, kicked around. All that punishment he took looked really uncomfortable, but he didn't die.
Yeah.
I think that's the key thing, is if you can go through all of this punishment, and look how much time T1 is committing to trying to take down Keen, and yeah, it doesn't look fun for him, but he still just lives on through all of this. It was a great ult by Chovy to stop the Ornn ult coming through. Keen goes back in. They actually kick him out, but they just really struggle to make headway in this fight. They get the dragon, and then Faker goes too aggressive. Chovy stuns him, instantly sent into the egg form. Canyon moves up through the fight. Keen still has a ton of health to work with.
Yeah.
Still a lot of effective HP, and the shield just keeps providing so much value. I think T1 spent so much time trying to cut through this front line, but realistically, Hayes, the Collector, and IE just didn't have the DPS to shred through this Ornn.
And now we got another play kind of brewing here. I think Keria has taken the correct path, though. And they're just going to get Chovy in position. But yeah, it's still a close game, and they really only get the Chemtech Drake. And a bunch of kills, obviously. You know, GENG do gain the lead from this, but it's not over at this point in time. So curious to see if they can deal with the Scion once the Caitlyn and the Anivia get some more items. As Canyon in a bit of a rough spot here, going to get hit by the horn, or the Ornn, as now the kick does go down, but doesn't really do a whole lot. Just kind of gets Keen out of position.
Yeah, Canyon able to disrupt that a lot with the ultimate, and there's not a ton of damage between Ona and Doran there to take him out. That will become quite slippery. Also, Duro now has the Mikhails, went for the Echoes of Helia first, which has a lot of value in any skirmishes, but the Mikhails, I think, versus T1 composition is a ton of value. We also saw Faker go the Rod of Ages Seraphs, which it's completed now, and obviously both of them give... Oh, nearly got hit by the Mantra Q from Duro, flashes away from that one. But yeah, has a lot of value when you have those items completed, but quite a slow build for an Anivia, and he's been really struggling to make the same impact compared to Chovy so far in this. Do have the upgraded IE come through for Pays. And that's the thing, it's not a huge gold lead for GENG. The Dragon advantage is only 2-1, and it's a Chemtech Soul anyway. This game is anything but over right now. And even though T1 obviously did have that unsuccessful fight around Dragon, which must have frustrated them, there's still a lot of potential for them to find favor going forwards.
Yeah, I think especially as their two carries get a couple more items, they're going to be very threatening.
Yeah, I think
to the front line.
4-item Caitlyn feels so much better than 2-item Caitlyn, especially for cutting through this Scion.
Oh, a little bit of a play here on the Pays. There's the stun, there's the root, and now he's in a lot of trouble. As down he will go very naturally. Chovy just saying, well, I've got Flash. And this time Pays doesn't respond Flash away.
Yeah. I think wasn't able to react in time, and once the point-and-click CC is coming, there's not a ton you could do. Now they're moving on to the Baron, and they have a lot of bulk to tank this up, so pretty fine to take this slowly. T1 going to try and approach here. This is a great bowling alley for the Ornal to come through.
I mean, they're getting some vision on the objective. It looks like GENG just wants to turn, but T1 so far effectively are able to get away, but Keria not so much. And now they're on the wrong side of the fight. Keen gonna flash slow onto Doran, and the root is gonna catch Faker, and guess who's behind him? It's Canyon, who's got the angle. And it looks like Doran also not very long for this world, dealing with the rest of GENG. Faker gonna go down to the egg and eventually go down to a death here. And that is a nice turn from GENG in the extended play, as now maybe they just go back to the Baron.
I think they can. Oda tries to get a ward down to threaten a steal, but it's going to be so difficult to approach against his composition. We also have a control ward from Duro, so he can actually... He finds Ona. I was going to say he can put it in the pit and clear the vision, but he's actually just going to keep him occupied.
Yeah, take him for a little walk. Get him rooted up.
Yeah, no way he gets close now. Great disruption from GENG to keep the enemy jungler away. This feels more significant than the in terms of setting them up for the 2-0 than that previous fight. Now with the Baron in hand, 4,000 gold lead. You do see T1 setting up to take away this dragon, but it's a small consolation prize in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, the Red Baron power play going to be pretty large at this point in time. You can see that GENG do not scramble to try to get over to the one Chemtech Drake when both teams only have 2 Drakes. And they have a nice little wave in top lane actually already. So this is the play on a Pays.
Yeah, the flash Q, and then I feel like if he does flash, he's obviously further away, but he's still stunned. There's still the follow-up. Once the Q's been fired, you're in a bit of an unfortunate position. Here, though, great from GENG to go for this play, to disrupt. And Keen, the wall comes down, so he's like, okay, I can just ult freely now onto Keria. And the thing is, this whole time, there's the threat of the Jinnel. It's so difficult to escape when that can open up on you. Ruler gets that great root, though, and they don't even end up committing it. Canyon finding a phenomenal angle as well onto the Anivia. Just feels like as soon as they started the Baron, GENG knew what they wanted to do, and we're just waiting for T1 to push up and fall for the trap.
Yeah, T1 have the Caitlyn, so they have the traps, but GENG set the ultimate one on that Baron. And this push is coming in. Owner's going to find Canyon. Gets a nice kickoff as the binding will connect, but still, Canyon's just so difficult to lock down. As Faker on the flank here as Anivia. I mean, he's going to do a bit of damage, but I think eventually he just kind of dies.
Toby's waiting for him.
Yeah, he does have flash, but he's like, well, I'm just dead.
Yeah.
Not the best flank teleport I've ever seen.
Flanking Anivia, not something we typically see. And Keen is just so tanky.
And they really need Faker to be there to chip away at the front line if this is turning into like a front-to-back team fight. He can't be like trying to assassinate a Jhin on an Anivia. That's an owner's job. As GENG are sticking around for quite a long period of time as the ult comes in. Gonna be blocked here by Doran, who just tries to flash away. But now the Jhin ult is out, doing a bit of damage. Just gonna taxi them out of the jungle.
Yeah, not able to find any more kills there, but the pressure is still mounting. Jovi's gonna get this bot lane turret. That mid lane turret's not long for the world either. I think Ruler can just push up and let the minions basically kill it. Mikhail's comes through for Keria finally. I feel like the Mikhail's value for both teams is kind of insane. We end up seeing it here. So Canyon actually gets initially focused down here by Ona. They go for the kick play onto him into Keria's root. And then the Mikhail's comes in before the trap can set. It sets in the clone instead. Then Faker on the flank. I guess the thought process was if Canyon was dead and we're able to rush at the bot lane, it wouldn't feel as isolated here. But the flanking Anivia, I'm not really sold on.
Yeah, and maybe you get like some kind of crazy wall if you're going to do something like that, but then you're very much isolated. As, yeah, Keria can't even break through the individual Scion shield.
I mean, this Scion just feels immortal. I don't think Faker or Pays really have the means of cutting through him right now. You know, there's no pen to come through from Faker. Pays does have the LDR, and eventually would be able to shred through him, but doesn't have a ton of attack speed. I feel like Killen's so much better at bursting squishy targets on the back of traps than shredding a Giga Tank.
And Faker's like a couple items, maybe 3 items away if he like finishes an actualizer into.
I think if he gets Void Staff next.
Void Staff.
T1's setting a trap here though for Keen.
I mean, again, this is the Scion. We'll see if they can deal with it as eventually he should. As there he does go. Faker gonna pick up the kill streak there.
Yeah, I mean, there's always a limit to tankiness. If there's 5 members of the enemy team jumping on you, and with the Anivia as well, it's so hard to escape. They can kill you fairly quickly. But it's a pick that gives a little bit of a reprieve for T1, but not altogether too much. One thing is that they went for that pick. It was kind of rushed. They wanted to avoid the vision from GENG. You can see towards the center of the map, a lot of wards lighting things up, so they want to avoid those. But the result is we have Dragon in a minute, and T1 don't really have much of any vision on towards the Dragon area.
So he's just waiting here.
Yeah.
He knows that owner is going to go for the Raptors.
So they kind of need to push in and contest vision. I feel like this T1 composition does better when they're set up in an area beforehand. But they just don't really have the means to do so. And GENG are actually clearing out some of the vision they did get when they went for that play onto Keen. We see Carrier moving up and getting some wards towards Baron. Maybe they're just going to sacrifice the Dragon at this point. Wouldn't surprise me too much.
I think that's fine. I mean, a couple of Chemtech Drakes, though, definitely going to feel nice for the Scion, the Karma, even the Ant.
Maybe they just think we ain't killing that shield anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, if you're not going to kill the shield, you're not going to win the game. So, gotta figure something out here fast, Team 1. Maybe that Void Staff is the answer. Chovy very fast here, and he's just out of vision, too. So owner's just like, well...
Yeah, I mean,
Doran,
he had Flash as well, so that was what you were hoping to burn, I feel like, off that play. But a little bit unfortunate. You end up just not connecting, not burning the Flash even. So T1 trying to look for angles in, trying to look for picks, but they are so far behind currently. Even with the ornaments coming in, it's a 6,000 gold deficit right now. Like Chovy with the 10-stack Medjais as well. With the the upgraded swiftness boots, where you get extra adaptive force for the movement speed you have. Feels like a really nice combo.
Yeah, he's going to be skipping his way, potentially, to a victory here. Do you feel like Chovy gets the POM if we end up seeing a GENG win? Because, I mean, the Rumble mid, definitely a unique pick. Played excellently, followed all the rooms, and then now... I mean, he's playing Annie.
I think, honestly...
Canyon had a good game, though.
I think the forefront ones are him and Canyon. I think both of them have really spectacular game 1s and game 2s. So I think they're in mind for the POM currently.
The game is not technically over yet.
Yeah, T1 going to try and stop that from happening.
Yeah.
Best they can.
GENG definitely in a commanding lead at this point. So we do have the LDR finished by Ruler.
Yeah, there's a big wave pushing up top.
Big damage.
Big wave pushed up top, and Chovy about to push that wave bot. So GENG have some time here where you want to deal with these side waves. Oh, they're lucky.
Guess who's here? As Faker does have his flash. Kenny just going to get over the wall with his own. Faker going to try to buy some time and get away from this one. As Keen himself as well trying to get away from the rest of T1. As Arid's going to come in, the kick into the trap, and eventually Keen trying to flash his way out of this one, but he will not be able to. It's a trade of Keen for Faker at the end of the day.
I think in a lot of situations, trying to pick the Scion just wouldn't work, but they managed to lock him down in place and control him. You can see GENG threatening. Look at Chovy on the flank. Still has the tippers, by the way.
He's very separated from the squad. But he's so fast with flash that I just don't think he cares.
He is just skipping away, as you said. So able to get out of that situation quite comfortably. And it ends up just being a 1-for-1 trade. Nothing too crazy coming from it. Flash being down on Faker feels pretty bad, though. We did see Canyon and Keen commit theirs. They're just going to start up the Baron. I think T1 have sniffed this out and will be moving over, but it's so dangerous to approach.
And Carry ulted it, so I think they saw it started up. Either way, going to try to get owner in position here. TP is already coming in. And might just be a flip if they don't zone them away. No, they're just going to go for the turn as Chovy takes a ton of damage, actually, from Pays and from Faker, but some low health bars here on the side of T1. As not really able to land much with that Ornn ultimate. As in goes out, Ola steals away the Baron! It might be the hero here for T1. Is able to get the objective. He's trying to do a little bit more. As they do get owner after the GA, as now the Jin ult gonna keep people around, but not for a very long period of time, and Duro also died. So T1 still in this game.
Great steal there from Owner. He goes down in the sacrifice, but they're able to actually get away. I was worried the Jin ult could just be the end of T1 there with the low health bars, but they turn it around onto Karma. I think some of the things that went well here for T1 is Chovy's looking for an aggressive angle here, but actually walks into a trap and just gets chunked out. So the threat of the Annie kind of removed. Doran's ult unfortunately doesn't connect here onto Keen, but I think the wall from Anivia playing a big blocker to him getting on the back line. We see Owner goes in, does end up getting the steal. And then here, when the health bars are low, you're thinking, oh, prime opportunity for a Jin ult here. But Duro flashes forward. Mantra Q doesn't get much success, and I think we just see Ruler kind of give up on the ult. Health bar's not low enough.
오케이 해서 야 빼. 나 가냐? 빼.
He's just saying, I got it, you guys have to back. And that's exactly what they did, eventually.
Both 80 carries very much online at this point, I think it's safe to say. 4 items from Pays, IE, upgraded IE and LDR. It's a big goal lead for GENG, but I feel like this often happens where, you know, Caitlyn doesn't feel that impactful until suddenly she just hits like she's shooting bricks at your head.
Yeah. Especially in Karma's case.
Yeah.
As we saw.
I mean, Pays has a goal lead as well. The only one on T1 with that advantage.
Yeah. I mean, gold lead as a team here for GENG. I feel like the pick potential of GENG's comp has been working out really well. I feel like, especially with the mega engage cones with the Chemtech Soul, Chovy's been really utilizing that well. As there is going to be the wall into Keen. He is not enjoying himself very much anymore.
Yeah, this time T1 have control of the Dragon area. They got there first, and it's up to GENG to try and make their way in. A wall comes down. Maybe Keen goes for the ult now.
Stun gonna hit Ruler, and Doran's doing a good job of just holding the door. As the Drake is going to go down in favor of T1. Cannon trying to extend the play, is going to get the Lee Sin.
Look at Chovy.
Yeah, Chovy on the flank here, and Cannon's going to get away. It's a 5v4 in favor of GENG at the moment. Root comes in on a faker. There's the big slam. Chovy is still just waiting. Not going to go in. Doesn't have the Tibbers just yet. As now he comes in, was waiting for Canyon, trying to get on top of Pace, who is shooting those bricks, as you said. As eventually Doran's just gonna go down. T1 still on the run. As they look to try to maybe back up this situation, but not gonna be easy. As Pay's gonna find himself face to face with Canyon and Chovy, and he gets the kill. Pays, the Fountain Laser, is just standing up to them. And they can't really just walk straight at Pays. He does too much damage.
The wall value so big here. T1's still trying to get away from this. Tibbers going to stop the recalls and they go for it.
Get him, Tibbers. And actually, Tibbers is doing quite a lot. Chovy
coming out.
Eventually is going to get Keria, and there's the last shot from Ruler. As it was very fun, the escape from T1, but eventually it ends in tears.
Yeah, we see Pays getting a ton of value here. So first off, it's T1 with the control. Faker uses the wall, so Keen ults, but Doran is able to block it. Jill comes out, and unfortunately, Owen doesn't have GA, so this trade of lives of the jungler favors GENG, and Chovy's just being so frustrating on this flank, but he slow plays it. He doesn't push in too aggressively, and he waits for Canyon to wrap all the way around here and get in position. Keen does die in the meantime, but now it just gets a lot more complicated when you're being attacked by both the jungle and mid. Pays, though, kiting away and doing so much damage consistently over the course of this. You can tell he's the person they're really respecting here, and they have to be wary of his damage. Canyon tries to go aggressive here and gets punished. But I think eventually, you know, on the wrong side of the map, no real way to get out. Ruler playing around the rapid fire. And I think GENG were right to go patiently on this one, not rushing into it.
I mean, there is a world where if they go a little bit too fast, what happened to Canyon happens to the rest of them. But not meant to be.
Yeah, I think the rapid fire usage there from Ruler was pretty great. Waiting for opportunities to use that to punish.
Chovy has 22 stacks on his Magi's.
That's quite a lot.
We saw Tibbers was doing quite a lot of damage, and it was into luck, so I was like, okay. But seeing what he has in his inventory, I'm like, yeah, maybe
He is
he's just
also-
really fed.
He's just full build. He's very fed.
Yeah.
You know, Faker's got 3.5 items, Chovy's got the full 5. And one of them being a 22 stack Magizer, which is why, because it's cheaper, but definitely a lot of AP.
Could have been a little scary if that binding actually hits Canyon. No more GA for him. GA back up for Owner. Just kind of waiting for this Baron to spawn. I mean, GENG still have excellent map control, but T1 have been scrapping every single time and staying in this game.
30 seconds on that Baron, and there's just no real vision from T1 in the vicinity. It's going to be so difficult to push through and contest this. Again, I think even though it ended up with GENG coming out ahead overall in that last play, the reason it felt so difficult at first, despite GENG's big gold advantage, is because when T1 have control of an area, it is very hard to push in. But for a lot of this game, they haven't. And this is another example where they're not going to have control of the area. They have to push in. GENG already have men on the Baron. And Page just recalled for GA, so he's going to be so late. I think they just have to give this up.
Just going to have to give it away. You see that carrier spots it, and they're like, well, what are we going to do about this? We don't have an 80 carry at the moment.
It's hard to really fault Page because GA is such a huge buy for these team fights, but it doesn't feel good that you just essentially gave over the Baron for free. Soul is in 45 seconds though, and they're getting a bit of vision down here. You know, this Scuttle Crab's being cleared by Owner. They have some eyes on the area, not as much vision as you'd like. And as I said before, you really want to have control of the area first, but we've had big spikes come through. We've had the Crypt Bloom from Faker for some penetration. The GA obviously for Pays is a pretty massive buy. I think it's likely going to all come down to this fight. Once again, Owner trying to scout out the area. A short TP from Doran in to mid, but he will get that massive shield from it.
Yeah.
Which kind of matches the shield Keen gets every few seconds by pressing W.
Yeah, Sion is really, he's just built different, as we know. Trying to get some vision. This is something that the Lux is really good at doing, actually, but not able to find Canyon. Canyon going to find himself face-to-face with his death, potentially, but Doran taking a huge amount of damage from Ruler on the top side of this fight, as Doran has to flash away. There's the binding on Akeen, and all of a sudden, yeah, he's just going to flash out, and the flash response from Ruler is beautiful, able to get away from Owner, who really wanted to set that one up. Nice kick away here on Akeen, not able to lock down the jungler of T1, and now Keen, not very long for this world, and will be taken down. Meanwhile, though, this Dragon will go the way of GENG as they pick up the Chemtech Soul.
All coming out from Ruler.
Able to do a bunch of damage already.
Oh!
Okay. That's a full build Jin.
They're still trying to collapse in. Faker has TP. They won these kills.
I mean, they're going to try. And just going to have to face check into a lot of lack of vision. I mean, there's a man advantage, yes.
The trap.
Carrion, no! Not like this. Not to just the trap. GENG, this looks eerily like the last time when T1 were running away from them.
They have Baron recalls though, so they just really need a little bit of time out of vision to get away, but it looks like they're just able to run this one out. Oh, Chovy's looking.
Oh, here he is.
Won't find it. But now, actually, members of recall. The carries are gone for T1.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Carry is like, well, I know that, yep. They're going to find Doran. I don't know if they get Owner, but
He got spotted, though, on the minion.
Yeah.
He's mobile enough with the Mega Cone. He should be able to get out, but
He got a Sion ult. I mean, there's an angle for Keen if he gets into mid lane, but yeah, no, he's just going to...
T1 not synced with the recalls there. Obviously, Chovy came in and disrupted Owners, but the man left behind. Multiple men left behind. Unfortunately, and GENG get the soul and come out favorably in the play. These fights are feeling so tense right now, though.
Yeah, you can see even Keen is like, you know, he knows his limits, but if he ever gets caught in a rough spot and he doesn't have flash, he also kind of just dies.
Yeah, I mean, Canyon's playing this so well. He goes aggressive, gets punished, and just, I don't know how he keeps making it out alive.
Yeah.
So hard to deal with for T1. But I think sieging without the Baron, a little bit fruitless for GENG.
Yep. The root comes down, and now Ruler, he's just gonna die! Gets caught by Faker in his own jungle. Faker's jungle, that is now the ultimate way here from Keen, and GENG just trying to get away. Chovy just gonna drop a bear. There's no objective for T1 to take now, but they're gonna look for the push in mid.
Yeah, so much back and forth in this game, but a phenomenal pick by Faker onto the enemy AD carry, onto Ruler. Ends up giving T1 the advantage they need to push up and start taking some structures. How far can they go? It's so difficult for GENG to approach here into this Anivia, and with no AD carry, they have to buy 30 seconds.
And they're just trying to clear the wave. You can see that it's really up to Duro. Cannon gonna find himself face-to-face with Owner, just has a Blasco to get away. They're still kind of 1v1ing up there, by the way. This inhibitor is going to fall. It's very late in the game. T1, 14 seconds here on Ruler, as Duro keeps hitting these big mantra Qs. Not always the difference maker, but if you give him enough time, can certainly do that, as we have the trap set and an escape path for T1.
Okay, a lot of structures taken by T1, but they can't push into the Nexus towers. With Keen there as a blocker, they're able to clear the waves. Ruler getting punished here. This was just phenomenal by Faker. The control ward goes down to block the vision, then steps up to catch out Ruler. Cleanse does nothing when the Kaelin is there just to put the headshots into you. And you know what? I think everyone was hoping for the series to go to a Game 3, but this Game 2 is delivered more than anything.
It's just really tense. I mean, we've had steals as well, or really just the main steal from Owner on that one Baron. Pretty critical stuff. And very much back and forth. You know, T1 have been behind in this game for the majority of it in terms of gold, but they have an Ornn, and it's very late game, and they have a Caitlyn, Anivia comp. I mean, there's a lot of ways for them to win this one. Headshot comes in, and it feels like anyone but Keen just winces as soon as they get hit. We have just
Baron.
dies.
Oh, that, yeah. Baron at 15, Elder in a minute 45, and it may end up coming down to the Elder. I feel like for so much of this game, it was GENG who had control of the map and were pushing out. Now T1, the ones moving around. They've spotted Canyon here.
Yeah, they know he's here. The entirety of T1 is making their way up, and now they have vision. The Cyclone gonna deny for a little bit, but Canyon, he's gonna try to flash, tries to get out with the Karma, and somehow this guy keeps on living. Chovy, ooh, that wall, pretty close.
Yeah,
Gotta force his flash.
Canyon just constantly able to survive these crazy scenarios where you're saying he's dead, but alive or not, he has to reset, and T1, I think the Baron is just theirs, so GENG missing out on that objective. They're going to move towards the Elder area and try and get vision there. You have to think, Baron, not the end of the world, but we have to get control of Elder Dragon.
And it's difficult to keep your mid lane pushed out while also getting a good spread of vision on an objective like this.
I mean, look at the setup that T1 had into the enemy jungle. And then it was that blue trinket that spotted out Canyon, able to make the play. His flash now down, Owner's as well. The junglers being without flash definitely makes it very delicate, given that they're going to be the focus, I feel, coming into this Elder fight. In most fights, the AD carry is the focus, but here, when one smite can just dictate the game, Canyon and Owner will be at the forefront. To level 20 on both these tanks, by the way.
Oh, he's just gonna ult in as Chovy goes up the wall and nearly dies. Pays, oh, he's gonna flash on him, but Pays is still alive. Flashes on Chovy, takes the down. Pays is taking names, and he's looking to win this game, but he's in the thick of it. But now Faker, he's there as well, carrying it up. As Ruler's on the left side of this fight, just doing a lot of damage as well. Canyon going to go down, but now it's all up to Ruler up against Faker, it looks like, in this fight. As Pays has fallen, and maybe Pays, you know, Pays did so much, but he also died very early on in this fight. As now T1, again, we're having this setup where they're behind enemy lines. Another binding's gonna come down here. Duro just trying to keep them around, but it's not gonna work out. We got a Jin and a TP. Trying to keep it in this one. As really, it's gonna be up to Ruler. He's gotta have good positioning. He doesn't have his summoners anymore. As TP comes in, Keen has a massive shield. I don't think that Owner and Carry alone can deal with the Scion.
If Owner dies, if he dies, it's Elder.
Now we got a TP coming in. You can see that T1, they know about this as well. They're like, we got to fight for it right here, right now. Ruler not really able to get in vision.
Shield is ridiculous. The shield for the TP combined with his personal shield. Looks like the respawns are going to come in. Fake has to deal with this top wave.
Longest game of the LCK this year.
Does not surprise me. T1 GENG often delivers. We're going to reset, but it's Ruler starting up the Elder. TP coming in from Doran to disrupt, and Ona's pretty close by, but Canyon is making his way over. Elder now going to be the focus point, but so many summoners were burnt in that fight. In fact, only Faker has his flash available, and we saw GA's burnt as well.
Yeah, and that's a really important flash for him to have. You see Owners down on the bottom side. Canyon maybe going to find him. Both these junglers, as you mentioned, the keys of this one, as that wall is going to deny. Faker's been so good with his walls in this game. As now the jungler's looking to collapse. Canyon's got an angle on that backline. Pays in a bit of trouble, but the kick is there. But now the Elder in position for maybe the swipe to go, and it goes to Owner again. As he's able to steal it, this guy will not be stopped. As Keen, nearly unkillable, but eventually he will fall to the Elder burn. As now the flash wall comes in. Chovy, though, looking to turn it on the Faker, but it's only the egg that he gets. And Pay's still alive. They're looking to take him down, but they will not be successful. Ruler, still alive, still has a full health bar, and still looking for more. Pay's just done 14k damage in the one fight. As T1 are looking to push mid.
They're pushing up, and we see Genji's bot lane trying to move over and respond if Carrier finds them, but he won't. Oh, doesn't with the ultimate. If you stop those recalls, that could have just been game.
Yeah.
They're going to try and make the push happen. Pay's now full HP because of the Bloodthirster, but Ruler and Duro are there. It's long timers on the respawn.
The kick is good! And T1 will be winning game number 2. Duro goes down, and in 50 minutes, T1 come back and bring us to game number 3.
Such a marathon was that game, and some clutch plays. The damage that was output by Pays on this Caitlyn and Ona with the clutch secure on the Elder. It came down to the Elder Dragon, and Ona was able to find it, give them the boost they needed to close out the game, but that was hectic, and that was only game 2. GENG vs T1, the El Clasico, the LCK delivers once again, and we still have another game ahead of us. And that's the thing for the teams. They have to reset after that game, that absolute slugfest, longest match of the season so far. And they have to reset from that and focus forward. T1 coming out ahead, but some crazy efforts around the board to make that game so close.
Yeah, T1, not the first time they've done something like this. This wasn't a massive lead that GENG had, but 90k damage.
90,000 damage from Pays. Yeah, I mean, this Caitlyn was massive. You kind of hit that point where you just do so much damage. The ornament boost as well. And even though he died in that last fight, he did so much, walked up so aggressively, set the rest of his team up for success. But yeah, this was hard fought for T1 to win.
And they really wanted it, as the sign does reference. And they bring us to a game 3. This is what we wanted. It's 1-1. We have a series on our hands as we head into the break.
앞으로 갈게.
카페 오케이. 난 막을게. 막았어. 스타일 없어.
이거 강타선 많이 물려거든?
이거 리셋 한번 해. 뭐 안 돼. 리셋. 이거 해.
와와와와와.
야 밀어내고 야야야
나와.
고고고고
나 오공공공공공공공공.
아 애냥 너 먼저.
야 쓰마 이거 전로
잠깐만 장로
오케이
장로.
오케이 오케이
전로부터.
먹겠어 먹겠어
좋아.
애니 노공.
위로
애니 노공.
미칼 있어.
상대 다 노플이야.
천천히. 사이먼.
오케이
천천히 봐도 돼.
앞라인
상대 다 노플이야.
좋아. 나 대가 하나 지금.
지금 애매해
나리야.
좋아
진 노스펠. 나 미드로 가 미드로.
얘들아 기다려 오오오
싸해.
나 코멘포라 천천히 해봐. 미드로 가면 돼. 미드로. 미드로 가. 야 미드로 와. 천천히 가.
조금만 천천히 해봐
나 이거 피업 되거든.
And once again, going to a game 3. A lot of picks taken away. We don't get many game 3s in the LCK at the moment. It's been a lot of 2-0s, so
Yeah.
champion pool is going to be tested further. We know, obviously, a lot of these players have champion oceans, but a lot of the favorites taken away already. And Jarvan going to continue as a ban here. Remember that T1 opted to ban this over the Karma, and ultimately it was successful.
Yeah.
Definitely a risk.
I think at this point you just don't have a lot of good options into Jarvan except Corki for the AD carry position, and probably don't want to play that. I mean, Lucian as well, but he's just getting kind of perma-banned, especially in this series. So we had, you know, Varus, Bard, Orianna, Vi, J4 were some of the other bans we had from Game 2. Maybe T1 look to leave something open so they can first pick it and try to get value out of it.
But I think they should definitely put the pressure on GENG to ban more of the power picks. That being said, the fact we've already had Rumble and Karma, which are two of our kind of perma-bans almost. They do slip through occasionally, but it's like Rumble, Karma, Orianna in Varus. A lot of series, you just have to ban them constantly. With those gone, it takes a lot of weight off GENG, which is, I think is a factor in them taking second pick here as well. And we'll see what they opt to take away here. They go for the Nocturne, a pick that Owner's been very successful on. And obviously the jungle pool's been thinned out here a good amount. There is still the Vi, which we know is pretty popular. Pantheon, another one that does well. But I feel like the risk with going like a Vi here is that they might just bring out the Neferi, which has been pretty good in general, but good into the Vi specifically. Cassiopeia comes out as a first pick for T1. This pick originally just there as a rise counter, but has been rising in priority thanks to the Deathfire touch, and kind of puts it down that GENG can't just pick Rise here, knowing that they're going into it.
I think as first pick, you don't want to just pick a jungler that gets matched by another, you know, quite good jungler. I was expecting GENG to go ahead and pick something like Yunara Lulu. Oh, actually, Lulu's gone. So they're going to look for a different duo with the Corki Nami, most likely. It is going to be the Corki to begin with. Something that Ruler definitely enjoyed for a lot of this year. But yeah, Cassio in terms of power level right now, very strong and a good first pick for T1.
A lot of those pairings gone, as you said, a lot of the bot lane duos. We see so many of those strong duos, and with a lot of them gone, Corki Nami definitely rising up in the priority. We've seen more of it recently. They won't secure the Nami that now, though. They're going the Corki Pantheon. And there's one downside to this. Obviously, getting first choice in the jungle is great, but by leaving that Nami until third pick, it means you're kind of locked into it. You really don't want to pick Corki and not have the Nami in most situations. And that means T1 kind of have a lot of flexibility here. The Cassiopeia unlikely to be answered. And they could even pick top lane as well for Doran, knowing that if GENG pick, you know, if they go with the Jace, if GENG pick Yorick on 3, they sacrifice their bot lane so heavily. And GENG honestly haven't been doing that so much. Keen tends to take a lot of the weight in draft. They don't put as much priority onto him, so they will pick up the Jace there. I feel like with the Cassiopeia and the Jace, you want setup with those picks. They have a lot of damage, and they will go for the Vi. I said the Vi, you know, potentially risky if you early pick it, if the Fury comes out, but having seen the Pantheon already, Ona feels comfortable to pick it up here. And I imagine this is just going to be the Nami. They could go the Yorick if they want to have that.
Yeah.
Actually, it's banned. Never mind. I forgot it was taken away already. But they could go something like the Cassante, something that matches up into it. And they're looking to do that. So sacrificing the Nami here in order to get a matchup that Keen likes. I think it makes a bit of sense considering, you know, I was talking about the Yorick. The Yorick's already gone. The Scion's already gone. The Ornn's already gone. A lot of options into the Jace have been taken away. And I guess they really want to make sure they have a good matchup. And now for bot lane as well, you can ban even more things for GENG. You know, you can take away the Yunara. There's Sivir, available. Maybe even, honestly, the Ziggs could come through. They're going to go with the Callisto, though, first and foremost. Callisto Renata would be pretty good here into, like, the Pantheon Cassante.
Yeah, just trying to target stuff that is left. The Nami ban, very obvious. Anyone could have guessed that one. Does leave you wondering what they might ban next, though. I feel like Cassio does well into pretty much anything, but if you want to ban something Chovy specific, you could look for that as the Ziggs.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of poke with that, and the Vi has a setup to land the ult on top of it, especially when you have a tank top laner and you're liable to just have 2 carries. I feel like Ziggs Vi is a big threat, and Ziggs Jace a lot of poke, so I think it makes sense to remove that. I feel like maybe a ban towards Chovy here. There's still picks like the Aurora available, which is really good on. They go for the Akali. I mean, the Akali's pretty good if you can get on top of the backline, but we've seen the Akali into Cassio just be miserable.
Yeah.
Even more so with the extra damage available in the runes. And I think it would make the composition of GENG very short range. Playing into a Cassiopeia would not be a fun time, so I don't think that the ban was necessarily needed. And it looks like GENG going to go for the Nico here, so obviously with the Nami gone, have to go for something else. It does continue with that sort of threat in the backline line of thinking. If Nico can get on top of the Jace Cassiopeia, a lot of pressure there.
Nico definitely still a strong pick. And now, I mean, for T1, this is their chance to do something strange. We don't have a lot of good options left available for this bottom lane.
I honestly like the Sivir here, to be honest.
Mel.
Go for the Mel, though. Mel Camille.
Mel Camille.
Okay.
Camille.
So they have the setup from the Camille. They have the Mel, who can obviously follow up on CC with a lot of burst. But you are going to get poked a good amount by this lane in opposition. Chovy considering the Talia as an option, a pick that did get buffed slightly, and we've seen a bit more prevalence.
Talia Pantheon as
Talia
well.
Pantheon, a really strong combo, yeah, and especially for the Vi. This is not fun to play into. I feel like GENG's composition is the more typical comp. Even though a lot of these picks aren't at the forefront of the meta, you have a pretty robust front line, Corki in the back line, and it feels easier to play. T1's composition, a lot of squishier champs, the tankiest champs are bruisers, and there's a lot of threat just to get exploded, but a lot of potential to explode targets on the other side. A lot of DPS if you can hold people in place, and the Vi and the Camille are really reliable ways to do that. But some concerns about Talia roaming pressure, the range into melee matchup bot, the Cassante into Jace. We've seen Keen get solo kills in this matchup before. Definitely could be a problem.
The fans you mentioned, pretty tense right now. I mean, we've seen so many fans come out here for this matchup, for the Saturday Showdown. Really just want to see their team win and get all the glory today, but only one team can do it. And T1, they've gone for something a little bit different, as we kind of expected with so much stuff banned away. Corki Nico for Ruler Duro as it is time. Let's hop into the rift for game number 3. Here we go. And of course, for match 6-7, we get a game number 3. It's just meant to be. It's written in the stars. This ward is going to get cleared out.
So last time Carrier played Camille, he was pretty massive on it. Once again, has the Ignite, the Hail of Blades, a lot of early threat. And if you get the ball rolling, you can be a big problem for GENG. But there's a lot of poke on the other side that you have to kind of respect. Which is why we could just see Carrier instantly all in at the first opportunity.
Yeah. Level 1 Camille, you have hook shot.
Yeah, you just hook shot
go
in,
into the enemy.
use
and
the
that's
attack
exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah.
It's going to hit them both and take a little bit of damage after the fact. But this is definitely what you want to do. Get aggressive trades with your Camille.
And that's the thing is, you know, at that point, Ruler doesn't have the Valkyrie. Duro doesn't even have 2 abilities to string together. Doesn't have the root into the Q.
Ghost already used here by Faker. He's putting on the pressure on a Chovy.
Oh, so much damage, especially with the Deathfire touch as well. You go for that long combo and then land your Q at the end to extend it. Duro just pretend you're a minion. They won't hit you.
He's a minion, and they're like,
Oh.
yeah.
Where'd he go? Oh, there he is.
Why did it feel like the T1 bottom lane like roleplayed that? They're like, oh yeah, no, it's actually a minion. I guess we were wrong.
Yeah, that was a successful deception check by Duro. Natural 20 comes out.
Yeah, he shapeshifted right in front of them, but he, he just got a good roll, so that's the way it goes.
Didn't look like anything to me.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this is Keen Sante getting to work here up against Doran in the 1v1. Really wants to force the flash, and eventually he will get it.
So I often talk about Keen not getting the most prio in GENG drafts, but they decided we want this third pick of Sante with a lot of the matchups into Jace and a good gone. They sacrificed a Nami for it. It's paying off already.
I mean, Canyon's going to go in there and just have to flash away. I guess he resets the blue, but he doesn't have a health bar, so...
Yeah, they'd rather kill him than the blue.
Yeah, the flash on in, as he will throw up a shield. It's going to help a little bit, but it's still going to be a kill. First blood given over to Pays. Just like that, is Canyon a little bit over-aggressive to try to secure his blue.
I mean, Carrier playing the Camille will look for any opportunity to all-in the jungle. You know that. And Canyon just goes super aggressive, gets instantly focused down, doesn't get his shield up in time to block the damage, and Pays is able to pick him off as a result. Good start for T1 here. And the fact that it's Pays getting the kill feels pretty good, especially given how monstrous his game 2 was.
Yeah, it feels weird to have him have that Caitlyn game, and then he's playing Mel now.
Yeah, so Ona goes for like the short Q into the stun from Carrier, and because of that, it doesn't give Canyon a chance to respond and get the shield up. If he blocks all that damage, it could have been a different situation with Duro there to back him up, but he just takes so much damage initially, has to flash out, gets chased down by the Mel, and look at the pressure being put on here. Look at the CS difference between the 80 carries. They wanted to poke them out.
Well, that's just going to be reflected as they're really desperately trying to make something of this. Instead, it is going to be GENG that write their own fate in the death node at this point, as Ruler 1v3 is going to flash, but no tower aggro taken just yet. They're just following him around. As Pays does a little bit of damage, he's able to get out of there. Owner does have to flash, but it's still a winning play here for T1. Now 2-0-1 for Pays as well.
Even with some mishaps on the back end, still ends up being a kill. You know, Carrier had Ignite as well and Flash. Really just very dead in that situation. But it's T1 twisting the knife to such an extreme degree, not letting Ruler and Duro play the game. You know they wanted to get a couple of levels behind them, start poking them out. They've never been given a chance. Ruler has less than half of the CS of Pays. He's down over an entire level. He's 1,200 gold down. It's less than 5 minutes. You know, the bot laners were so important in the previous game, and T1 are just not letting GENG's bot laner exist.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the ways that T1 bot lanes will punish you.
Pays has an Alternator, an Amp Tome, and a Dark Seal. Ruler has a tier. Maybe several tiers with how the lane's been going.
They're going to land the root. It's not really going to help out all too much. Ascaria still connects the hook shot, and that's heal gone. Ruler still doesn't have flash.
The thing is, they don't kill them, but they don't need to. They just chunk them out, force them away. This lane is unplayable, and GENG going to look top lane.
Yeah, a little bit of a mishap, but Doran doesn't have flash, and he's Jace, so he's still dead. Not exactly the cleanest, but they get the job done. And that's a kill over to Keen.
It's good they're getting a kill there. It's good they're able to do something despite what is going on bot lane, but I'm afraid it really doesn't make up for how bullied out your bot lane is getting. I mean, look at this.
They don't have a bot lane. There's no bot lane to bully because they don't exist. And there he goes. He disappears. Face does die, though. But the kill is given over to Duro, and a large amount of farm is denied.
He's still at 14 CS. I was saying before 5 minutes, I was like, he has less than half the CS. He had 14 CS there. Ruler hasn't killed a single minion in over a minute, maybe even longer. He's still at 14 CS at 6 minutes. Carrier has half his farm.
Yeah.
This is just brutal. This is so unplayable, and it's getting to the point where Pays is almost level 6, Ruler isn't even level 4. Canyon is about to get ultimate, but if you show up bot, you just lose. If it's 3v3, 100%, but I don't even know if you win 2v3 at this point. With how strong Pays is becoming. Nearly going to have his first item as well. Finally, Ruler gets another bit of CS. Maybe he'll hit 20 CS before.
He got his first 4 CS in like the last 3 minutes.
There we go, 20 farm.
Hey. Yeah, Carrier, you know, he doesn't have Ignite, he doesn't have Flash. Also, he moved out of the lane, and they knew it, so...
Also, Carrier just double Ruby Crystal, double Longsword, just as many base stats as possible.
That's the thing about Camille's support as well, is it's not like a Lulu, it's not a Nami, it's someone who actually will just kill you, even without items. Like, that is something that Camille can do, and just so much pressure. I think that's part of it, you know, when you're talking about like the 2v3s, like FaZe is really fed, but also Camille. It's not going to make your day easy. Does look like Keen is keeping this wave right in front of his turret. And there's not really much that Doran can do to punish him. So kind of frustrating for Doran. But again,
I think
they're winning on the map.
And you can just go top and kill Doran. Even with Flash, you go ult behind him, he's pretty dead. Izzy Keen's trying to set up for it. But Ona's moving over. They kind of expect this play. He flashes well, and Ona counters. This could be huge.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the timing. Owner is here. A lot of damage already done to Doran, but yeah, Flash comes in. There's the stun. The knockback, though, is good from Doran. And now we got a TP coming in from FaZe as the follow-up here coming in from Owner. And Canyon is isolated and will be going down. Owner picks up that kill, and the pressure from the TP is good.
Such a good read from T1. You know, bot lane's in shambles. Canyon can't really do anything there. He's like, I'll go top. We know we can kill Doran on repeat, but he has Flash available, doesn't even need it. A good buffer with a knockaway onto Canyon. And the fact that FaZe is there as well to clean up, to make sure, to guarantee they win that fight, just spreading his influence on the map. And Ona gonna be able to pick up the grubs as a reward. Getting those grubs as well when you already have so much pressure and been devastating Genji's bot lane tower definitely feels bad.
This time it's Owner who picks up the 3 grubs. I believe it was Canyon who got 3 grubs and like all of the objectives in both games 1 and 2. All the early objectives. This time it's going to be T1 with all the pressure they have. The Hextech Drake, the 3 grubs. It just feels like this game is one that T1 explicitly wanted to take into their hands right from the get-go, even with that early Cassiopeia pick.
I mean, we saw game 1 really come down to that flex from GENG, the rumble to mid, the Renekton top lane, giving them so much power. This game, T1, it feels like they brought out some of their tools they had in waiting with the Mel, Camille, just playing around it so effectively here. So Canyon's waiting for the chance, but Ona burns the Q to jump in. Doran's able to self-peel here, and then with the TP coming in, Ona just says, cool, we'll just kill the Pantheon. Keen has to leave. They know they can't hang around and wait for FaZe to arrive. And it ends up going favorably towards them.
Doran's just so fast. I mean, he picked up the Swifties, and now Keen is having a much more difficult time of actually locking down the Jace, like we did see earlier on in the game when he burned the Flash. I say that. This time, though, up against the wall, Keen will land that.
No ult available yet. The Pantheon is once again hovering towards the top side. And I think it's fair, because what else can you really do? The game like this. Even though there's been more farm picked up from Ruler, he's level 6 now, can farm with the rockets a bit. You can still see how much pressure there is on the side of T1. And Carrier just gave a ton of solo XP over to FaZe. So the level of support's pretty even, but FaZe 2 levels up on Ruler.
Yeah, level 8 Mel is pretty gross at this point in the game. Carrier's even getting in there trying to poke a little bit himself. And we thought maybe something was going to be brewing here in mid with Owner nearby, but he says, you know what? It's my turn to get double dragon.
Pretty easy to get dragons when your bot lane has this much control, but he'll definitely take it.
Yeah, again, the Gen Z bottom lane doesn't exist, so pretty easy. And now on Vision, Duro might just be dead, as there's the Reflect as well. It is rebuttable, and Duro's not going to die, but he does get his back stopped.
Yeah, the heal and him getting out of that and having the peel from Canyon to stop any further damage coming through, definitely saving him. Just shows how scary this Mel is, though. I mean, the fact Canyon jumps on him, and even then they don't want to follow through, they don't want to chase more. The plan right now for GENG is survive. The bot lane just needs to survive as best as possible. Because with how early there was this massive gold lead, you cannot contest them. You need to wait until, even if they still have a 2,000 gold lead, it's a lot less significant at 20 minutes compared to when they had it at like 6 minutes.
Yeah. I'm just glad that Ruler doesn't have 14 CS still. That's That was kind of sad.
That would have been troubling if that was still the amount of farm he had at this point.
It's going to be very far behind on the quest completion. It's like the saddest Corki feeling because your spike comes so much later. You just do not get to play the game for a very long time. And it totally shifts your mindset. You just have to kind of accept your fate. We'll see if Ruler can handle that.
They were moving up to the top side, and they spot Ona just stealing away the red buff. Can't really do much about it. And now it's a 1v1 in the bot lane. Doesn't look fun. I mean, the 2v2 didn't look fun. The 1v1 also doesn't look fun. So, that tower's not long for this world. Honestly, GENG might be better off with the tower gone, so at least Ruler has somewhere safe to farm.
Yeah, I mean, do you just let it go down? I mean, he has to step up and get the farm, but maybe you can let the minions hit a little bit. Trying to go for an aggressive trade as Canyon's up on the top side of the map again.
I don't know if T1 let the tower go, though.
Yeah.
I think FaZe is going to let as many minions die to it as possible. He would have liked if Ruler was still on 14 farm. I think that was a good point of the game for them. Once again, Canyon trying to look for something top lane. But Doran playing pretty defensively here near his tower. And mid lane has been the most quiet, which I think Faker feels fantastic about. Obviously went for that early trade on a Chovy, put some pressure down, but it's generally just been a farm fest. And if you're going farm for farm as a Cassiopeia into a Talia, that feels really good. You know, because Canyon's trying to make an impact where he can. He's struggling because bot lane feels just very difficult to deal with. But the fact that it hasn't been Canyon and Chovy able to lean bot makes a world of difference.
Yeah, just zero map pressure at all. You can see that Canyon is trying to hang around the bottom side just in case. Maybe just waiting for his Gromp to spawn. Because I mean, FaZe has shown many times that he's like, okay, I'm going to clear this wave and just back away because doesn't want to pressure that turret. And actually now FaZe is in the mid lane as they're looking for this play on the Chovy. Hextech Ultimatum comes down, and eventually you just die. I mean, there's nobody there to save him. Duro also in this one as Owner takes him down. And even the flash burn from Duro doesn't help him at all. T1 just totally controlling everything in this game.
Playing around the setup from this Vi Camille, the decisiveness these picks have, the lockdown, no way to escape from it and get away, and T1 just pulled 2 more kills out of there. I was saying that a 2k gold lead, you know, at 7 minutes feels a lot worse than a 2k gold lead at 20 minutes. I don't think there's looking to be a 2k gold lead at 20 minutes. 4,000 now for T1. They're not giving GENG any chance to breathe and recover and stall this game out.
That's exactly what you got to do. I mean, if you just sit on your hands and let Corki hit spikes, you're actually in danger of throwing the game away as Keria once again sets it up here in mid. It's
a great angle coming for the flank here. Flashes to commit the stun. And Chovy runs out of the route, but can't really do much of it. Can't even flash away because FaZe can just ult him.
Speaking of setups here, yeah, they're just looking for Canyon, and even he is going to have to flash away. We do have a wall coming down. Ruler also able to get out. Owner forced to flash away himself as this TP comes in from Keen Sante. Gonna get on top of FaZe, but there's really not much follow-up. I think for GENG, at least they don't die. That's kind of all they can be happy about at this point.
Yeah, no ults from Ona and Keria make that a trickier one to start off, but Canyon, at this HP, going into the Herald pit, very risky. And we can see, Doran's looking
The Herald does damage.
Look at Doran, he's trying to find poke from the top side. If he hits Canyon with a shock blast, he might just die.
He might just die right here. Like, Canyon needs to be so careful as Shock Blast is going to hit him. And Canyon, yeah, he just dies. GENG desperate to try to set something up on this objective, and they will be punished heavily for it. T1 immediately call the bluff. As Keria is in that backline trying to take out Ruler. At least Chovy's able to peel for that, but
he won't let them get away.
Not for long as Doran knocks it down. And T1, they're looking for Chovy here as well. Chovy doesn't have flash. Used it to get that kill earlier as in goes Owner. He's got a shield.
And he gets out.
In and he gets out.
Beautifully played there by Owner. The angle from Doran as well. You know, this game was so much around the bot lane, but Doran, this is such a heads-up play, moving around the top side. Canyon's so low already. This shock blast ends up just basically wiping him out. Follows up with the to the skies, and GENG already so chunked out here. We see Keen trying to go in, but against the Fed Mel, not much you can do. Oh, they're going in again.
Yeah, looking for a play here on a Canyon. Duro desperately trying to just peel, and he doesn't exist, as I've said many times in this game. And now still trying to fight her, GENG, trying to fight behind this Cassante, but Ingos Carrier again sets it up, and they just keep baiting GENG into this fight. We got a TP in from Chovy. He's going to be going down here as well. It is a landslide victory so far for T1.
They are absolutely crushing them. 17-3 at 17 minutes. T1 alone have a kill a minute at this point of the game. And with how close game 2 was, an absolute slugfest that took everything from both teams to get to the end of it, it's T1 who say they have more in the tank. And GENG, it looks like they do not. They're just getting picked apart right now. The aggression from Ona and Carrier just permanently looking for these angles to engage. Duran comes in, and there's a feeble attempt to turn it around, but we don't even get to see the replays. They're still looking for more fights. It was GENG actually who started this one, but the reinforcements come in and they have to run away.
Didn't you just keep aggressively positioning on objectives and saying, no, we can still fight this? No, you can't.
It's a 10,000.
10,000 gold.
That's pre-20 minutes. This, I think this might be the most one-sided game we've had in the LCK season so far. I can't remember.
It's definitely up there, yeah.
It's definitely up there, but it might even be the most with how early they're able to generate this lead. And considering how close game 2 was, it's like whiplash almost. T1 not giving them any room to breathe.
Yeah, I mean, GENG in game 1 was very dominant. Obviously, some of that came down to the draft. It was a nice little swap-a-rooney. But then the game 2 was so close, and then now it's kind of like all that pressure just immediately fell.
This could be a solo kill.
Yeah.
It doesn't quite have ultimate available. Otherwise, genuinely, if he had ult, I think it could have been.
Yeah.
There's the heal from Duro, I guess, on the ult, so maybe he would have been able to peel himself. But, I mean, Carrier is so much stronger. He's 2,200 gold ahead of Duro, which normally, like, it supports. It's not a focal point, but it's feeling very relevant right now. Like, I feel like Carrier is currently more for carry than Ruler is.
Yeah. No, he is. I mean, Ruler still doesn't exist. He has a Triforce. He doesn't have a health bar, even against the Jace. He's just sitting here getting poked out by Mel and Jace who outrange him. He's just like, well,
Hayes has
so far behind.
Hayes has 2 full items, a 10-stack Dark Seal, a Seeker's Arm Guard, and a Wisp, building towards his 3rd items. The disparity is humongous right now. And Soul is going up in 3 minutes. Ocean Soul are the highest priority, but I feel like when you're already this far behind, any extra power you do not want to give over. But what are GENG supposed to do with this much of a deficit? I feel like if they even walk outside of mid-tower, they're getting engaged on. I mean, Carrier and Ona have Flash, which, I mean, they don't need it. It hasn't stopped them before, but they will absolutely utilize it.
Yeah, I mean, you can see GENG are really just trying to hug their jungle at this point, and it's a good idea because they haven't really done that for the majority of this game. And you're going to see this Baron started up on spawn. GENG will be forced to respond to this.
They want GENG to respond. They are going to engage if you give them a window, and it's very hard to contest this without giving them a very open, I mean, a bay window even at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to deny Canyon entry, so...
Okay, they back away. They don't find the angle. They back off. They'll just reset from it. Don't want to throw away a lead like this by over-forcing. It's been 3 minutes since we've had a kill, which is a long time with how this game has been going. But T1 feel confident in the lead and are now setting up for this Dragon, for this Soul in a minute and a half. Everyone's summoners kind of coming up because we've had this little bit of a lull in combat. But I feel like it's kind of hard for the summoners to be relevant against Camille, Vi. Like, you can flash as they're engaging on you, but once you're trapped, that's kind of it.
Yeah, I mean, just waiting for this next one to start up in about a minute. You can see that Doran just pushing top. Still a 10,000 gold lead.
Are they giving it up? They don't really seem to be moving too much in the area. I guess maybe they're just so worried about the lack of vision and the engage threat. Maybe they push mid and rotate over. But I mean, GENG just do not look like they want anything to do with T1 right now. They're playing so defensively on the map, understandably. But it does not bode well for their chances of making it through the jungle, over the river, and to the Dragon Pit. Feels like, you know, such a long distance to cover with Camille's and Vi's hiding in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have an entry to this fight. I mean, as you mentioned, like, maybe you can push up through mid. But if you are out on the map 5v5, even like 5v4, I think T1 just jump at the chance. I mean, T1 have been relatively restrained in the last 3-4 minutes. They haven't gone too deep on anything. I think that's what GENG are hoping they do. Owner's got a nice angle here on the right side.
Aaron just keeps hitting Shock Blast onto Ruler, and it's definitely not helping GENG.
All right, gonna force the flash out of Doran. That is something, I suppose.
Okay, T1 focusing their attentions around mid, and that's given a window in. GENG.
And they're just going to try to flash in and burst down one target. They do take out Pays, actually. Ruler getting pretty low, but he will survive for now. Keria, though, going to make quick work of him. And eventually it's only Chovy as a carry who's left over. And GENG, I think they sent it about as well as they possibly could have. But at the end of the day, T1 will continue with the dominance, and they will pick up this Ocean Soul.
Even with this Giga-fed 7 kills Mel getting one shot at the start of the fight, it just does not matter. They throw everything they can at Pays, and it's a good engage. The flash done, the follow-up is there to make sure that the Mel dies. When we see Owner go in, baits Duro's ult and turns on a Ruler. Ruler deleted by that Camille Vi combo, and then there just isn't the follow-up damage for the rest of the fight. Duro flashing away here, the Faker lands the poisons and just walks away. Well, I guess slithers away.
Yeah.
Ocean Soul now completed for T1. And it's back to a 10,000 gold lead.
Just feels like this is how T1 win some of their games. You know, we have games like game number 2 where they're behind, but they see an angle and they're able to play it out in the long game. But sometimes they just make this draft really work for them. They bring out something that maybe GENG are not expecting, and they're able to play it so well to a level that a lot of other teams are not. That just allows them to take over games. I mean, the bot lane is so important in this meta, and if you're just able to pull out Mel Camille, like, that's unbannable. They banned Callista Ziggs. That makes a lot more sense. Now, Keria is going to just die, and now they're looking for Faker. I mean, this is swiftly becoming something. Faker getting pretty low as now Duro is zoning away Pays. That's all he can hope for, and immediately down goes Owner. And all of a sudden, I mean, that's a big Mel ultimate, though. A lot of damage still coming out from Pays, who is able to dodge the Cassante. T1 still fighting this one. As now Pays is going to mean the ace, and GENG are right back in the game.
Just when it feels the game is done. A 10,000 gold lead, Dragon Soul as well. We see GENG find the miracle fight to turn it around. An ace for just their support. Keria ends up overstepping here. And this is an example where T1 could have just let him go. He's one shot basically, but they commit to the play. Keen with this flash here to get on top of Faker. Essentially removing 2 members of T1 before the fight's really started. And Pays is trying to get damage down, but he's being chased away by Chovy, by Duro. He commits the ult to kill Duro, but then doesn't have it for the rest of the fight. And look how low these health bars get. Not quite having the damage available, and Ruler's just free hitting this whole fight. Able to clean up the enemy bot laner at the end. That 10,000 gold lead is down to 4,000. And what looked like if not the most one-sided game of the season so far could end up turning into the biggest throw this season so far if GENG are going to find more ways in like that. That was a massive... I mean, look at the goal difference.
Yeah.
Right now, Keen's actually ahead. Chovy and Ruler are basically even. That's the thing with those kills as well, with who they were going to. It's Canyon who didn't pick up any kills, so he's still really far behind. Duro as well. You don't really care.
Okay.
Canyon's a point-and-click stun. Duro's your engage, but your carries are now at parity. And that's such a big deal.
Insane. I mean, we didn't even talk about what GENG's composition really does in much detail because it wasn't going to matter. This game was over. It was over. It was in the bin. And yet, now it's not. And GENG have a Red Bull Baron power play of 1,500. they still have immense amounts of pick with Talia, Pantheon, and Nico. And T1 just did not respect it. I mean, they were respecting it for a while. I'll give them that. Until they weren't. And all it takes is one time.
I think it shows how fragile the T1 composition is and how vulnerable to being bursted it can be. There's a lot of squishy members. The Vi Camille combo feels amazing when you're going in, but when you're getting CC locked, you go down pretty quick, especially with all that extra gold the carry's got. But Canyon, Key, and Chovy, that top side of the map has so much setup to make the picks happen. And right now, GENG looking to pick up even more gold on the map. The Ocean Soul's not a game breaker, so the fact that that's got it just kind of sets up for a really early Elder Dragon. But GENG just picking up more gold on the back of this Baron.
29-minute Elder is going to be spawning here, and the timing of it is very nice. GENG get all that gold on the map. They're able to get it back, spend all of that gold, and then head straight for the Elder and try to set up vision. And T1 still have a gold lead, yes, but this was not supposed to be a playable game for GENG. The fact that they can move out on the map in the first place is just crazy to even say. Now, Paze does have a Zhonya's. Hopefully that does help him in the next fight. I mean, the last fight we had, it was just 1 by 1. The dominoes were falling, so, you know, it didn't really, you know, even if Paze had his arm guard at that point, it wasn't able to help him. There's no reason to use it in that spot. But maybe in a 5v5 that's a little bit more controlled, T1 can still make something happen and avoid some of the heavy pick potential of GENG.
I think having the vision setup is so important for this. You can see like the GENG vision line is kind of on the eastern side, and T1 really have control of like the banana brush and that line brush next to mid. It just really intense pockets of vision for both sides around their areas. But I think flanks can be so dangerous in this game from both sides. There's champions that really can be a big threat if they get onto your backline. We've seen Paze getting focused down, being a big factor. He does have that full Zhonya's now for a bit of defense, and GENG moving in to clear out some vision. Another factor is there's a lot of poke from T1. With the Jace, with the Mel, they can get down early, can make a big difference. I like how Ona was walking there. Was like, maybe I find someone, but it's the...
They're going to go in for a pick here. I mean, Canyon just isolated, and he will be taken down. Duro, though, wants to continue the fight. Not much follow-up there for the side of GENG, but Keen, pretty gigantic. And now Faker looking to flash over the wall. Might just have the damage. Ruler is isolated, and they do take him down this time around. Keen still uncontrolled, but it's only Keen as he will flash on in to try to save Chovy, and he will be able to. And all of a sudden, okay, Keen is going to go down. It was looking like maybe we had something brewing here for GENG, but it's still T1 to win the fight, take the ace, 1,500 kills for Owner, and that's a good fight to get it on.
And what a game, honestly, to get it on. Owner has been instrumental for T1 in this one, and honestly last game, getting like the secure on the Elder Dragon. They will be able to dispatch GENG. I feel like things are pretty positive. Just the fact they took out the jungler immediately means that Elder's such a real threat. This is why GENG felt forced to fight this a man down, because without their jungler, they have no chance of a steal. Paze flashing away from the ult here keeps him safe for the time being. But Keen gets an insane amount of value here. Jumps onto the enemy Mel and just one-shots Paze. In the meantime, though, Fake is running Rampage in GENG's backline, and that's ultimately the problem. Keen did everything he could, but didn't really have a team to back him up with the decimation that Faker, Owner, and Carrier put down. Elder Dragon now secured. And it's Baron in 45 seconds, so even if you struggle to siege, you can just pick that up as well. It's going to overlap quite nicely with the Elder buff. But for the time being, you're going to push up pretty aggressively. We said earlier in the game, GENG, they just needed to survive, stall the game out. Well, they're now facing an Elder buff, and once again, they just need to survive, clear the waves, and buy time.
Yeah, at least for now. As you talked about, you know, the Baron is not up yet, so no Baron buff means that these waves are easier to clear. Talia pretty decent at doing so. Quirky a little bit less so, but still doesn't look like T1 have enough pressure.
Interestingly, they move towards the boss side jungle, clearing up those camps, and they're going to be a little late on the Baron spawn, which, you know, it doesn't sound like a big deal because they're not going to be contested. But every second that goes by for GENG means time where they're not overlapping the buffs. And that's a good thing, because Baron and Elder together means you can't clear the waves and you can't fight them.
Yeah.
But as soon as it's only one of them, if it's just Elder, you clear the waves. If it's just Baron, you fight them. And they are going to pick it up now. They are going to have about a minute, but the waves have been pushed out by GENG to buy them as much time as possible. A reset comes in from Carrier. How much time do you really have with a wave pushed up to the enemy turret? 30 seconds, you get 2 waves maybe, and then the Elder is gone, and T1 didn't get a ton of value out of it. They're still mega ahead. They still have the Baron. They're still in a great position, but GENG, they've bought time at least for now. If they have to sacrifice a tower here, it's definitely worth it. You don't want to fight until that buff is cleared.
Yeah, almost certain you're going to have to sacrifice something here on the side of GENG. The question is really, where is it going to be? It looks like T1 main siege is up on the top side of the map.
Okay, 20 seconds, last wave. If you have to give up the tower, then do it.
Yeah. There's the wall. I mean, that's a little bit lackluster. Doesn't really do anything, and now Chovy's out of position. Straight on the miasma. Does go golden, but that just means that the Casante's dead, and so is Chovy. Ruler gonna get ulted as Duro's trying to peel, but the Elder is too strong, and so are T1. Right? Guys? Okay, Ruler is going to get the kill, but we still have Elder.
Wait,
no,
it's
Elder's
2v2.
down.
Elder's down.
But they have Baron, so they've got a big wave. This is the 2 carries of T1 that aren't quite strong at this point in time. Canyon. Oh, that's
the
gonna be a reflect on the missile. Not able to get the root here on the Ruler, but I think eventually in the extended fight, no, he's gonna miss the poison.
If he can get some health back, Duro's up in 10. It might be an open Nexus, but they might be able to defend the base.
This is so silly. How are T1 not able to end this game here? Miasma comes in, Canyon maybe a little bit too far forward, but he's able to frontline. Pays though, gets on in there and shuts it down and says, no, the game is over, guys. Enough. I've had enough of this, says Pays. I will win the game for my team, and not the first time either. T1, they take Saturday Showdown in a 2-1 victory against GENG. A massive victory for T1.
A crushing game 3, and even though GENG fought hard to make it competitive, fought back from a massive deficit and made them really work even for the end of the game, it was a T1 who started that game off so well. They came for that momentum in game 2, one of the closest games we've had this season, just managing to win it out, and then they were dominant for so much of this game 3. And this is their first Saturday Showdown win over GENG. We've seen this matchup so many times before. We've seen it go back and forth so many times before. But in Saturday Showdowns until now, it's been GENG all the way. And T1 able to deliver a blow. And I think a big confidence boost. You know, they've been trying to climb up the standings. They're lower right now. They were lower than GENG. But with this win, actually, I think we'll be able to bump themselves up into second play. I mean, technically, KT's gotten less losses, but they'll overtaken GENG with this.
So GENG fall to 4th?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
They basically, I mean, yeah, with KT has less losses, so sometimes we see them being in second instead until they have their next series, but T1 able to push GENG down and climb up themselves. A pretty huge win for T1, and it's a matchup that I feel like you always look forward to as fans of either of these two teams or just fans of the LCK as a whole, and it absolutely delivered. But for the T1 fans, they were looking for the win and they found it. And on the back of Pays, who had some pretty massive games. I think there were some moments in game 3 who obviously got caught out, but had some great plays as well, and ultimately was the person to make the game-ending play.
The person of the match.
Yeah.
You could say.
Could say. I think Owner and Carrier also do a lot of work with their aggression. I mean, honestly, Darn had that great flank around the Herald pit. Faker had some huge plays, like when he flashed in on the backline around Dragon. This is T1 in the sort of form you don't really expect until you get to Worlds, but showing what they can do when they're firing on all cylinders, all 5 members coming together. And GENG fought hard. You cannot deny that. With the game state they were in, they managed to make this still feel tense, which is hard to do when you're 10,000 gold down before 20 minutes. But it just wasn't enough.
I'm just glad we got 3 games. Even though, you know, game 1, game 3 were a little bit one-sided. Like how GENG were coming back here in this game number 3. Made it interesting. I was worried that it was just going to be kind of over from like minute 6.
Yeah.
But made it into a fun one.
And this moment, GENG had been stalling out well. The wall comes in and it puts Chovy in just a bit too of an aggressive position, allows the engage. But it's crazy that it ended up being 3 for 3, and there were just 2 members left. GENG trying everything to keep this going.
Watch Pays here.
타워 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 타워
The Ocean Soul helping a good amount here as well.
90초거든?
So not here. Watch when Cannon goes back in.
안 돈다. 반대.
They're so locked in right now as well.
Yeah, and they just don't have the damage to burst. Pays, especially because you can pop the W afterwards, flashes in. That was such a huge play.
끝내야 한다.
아, 나이스. 타워 쳐야 돼요. 다행이다.
It's like, oh, we gotta hit the Nexus. We gotta end this right now. Some sly smirks at the end.
Yeah, I think with how the game had been so far, you know, very one-sided, I think they kind of expected to come out ahead in that one, but GENG fighting to the very end there. Carrier with the Camille again. Honestly, you know, we talked about Pays already. I think Ona and Carrier had a great series. Might get some votes towards them, but the game to Caitlyn, I mean, even the Ashe, he was doing a lot of work, but the game to Caitlyn and then the Mel, that game-ending play, massive. And I think Pays, really the player that T1 wanted him to be in this series.
Yeah, I think it was Wolf who was talking about it on the pre-show as well, or maybe it was after game 1. Or no, I think it was after game 2, which makes sense, which is, you know, Pays finally coming into his own. Just feels like, you know, it's taken a little while for him to really show off his full potential and recognize why he was put into the roster. But I think, you know, with his first POM tonight, he will show that off, as we're going to hand it over to Deer for the translation of the interview.
Thank you very much, guys, for the amazing commentary. This is Deer for the POM interview translation, joined by Pays on the side of T1, who have secured their 10th victory. Well, T1 and GENG's Saturday showdown in the center of attention, and the winner was T1. How do you feel? You know, our games are quite long today, but it was honestly such a blast. I had so much fun that I didn't even know that it was going that long. And this is your first win against GENG in a while, and a first one for Saturday Showdown. And this is actually your first POM. And a unanimous one as well. So, how does it feel to be the main contributor for today's victory? You know, I had not received any before today, and I really wanted to get it. But just getting the POM against such a strong opponent means even more to me. And before the match, the major discussion fell on how to strategize the opponent's top mid and how to defend it. So what was T1's players' take on it? I don't think we really prepared to defend necessarily, but I think we were just trying to break through our opponent. Well, in the end, game 1 was an unfortunate drop, but you guys were able to pull off a reverse sweep in the series. So what was the game plan for game 2? For game 1, I felt like, you know, we just... I just felt like we didn't do what we were supposed to do, and we were lost helplessly. But in game 2, we just wanted to go back to our roots and just be able to do what we actually prepared. And game 2 was a legendary game going over 15 minutes. And this other fight, how did the players feel in this moment? And it's been such a long time that we played out such an extended game. So I was quite nervous, but luckily we were actually in a great position and we were able to get the Elder. So it looks like you guys are really calm in terms of making calls. So do you remember what you guys are talking about? Well, I was so focused, I can't really remember. Well, the Anivia was putting up a really nice wall, and you guys are able to output some damage. Yeah, Faker was able to really take out all the aggression and give us a really good angle to deal damage. So he really set up our teammates. And your Caitlyn did 90k damage. So did you check the graphs? How did you feel? Yeah, I thought I did a lot of damage, and when I noticed the timer going above 50 minutes, I feel like if I did well, even better, I feel like I would have definitely exceeded 100,000 damage as well. And in game 3, we got here Mel, Camille, and Bot, a powerful combo. So walk us through how you landed at this feisty comp. Well, I thought that this comp would be a really good Mel comp. And I was just really confident that we'll able to be taking the advantage with Mel. So I think that's why I just wanted to go ahead and play Mel. And just that 7 minutes, you guys created a 2,000 gold difference in bot alone. Just absolutely dominating. So any message to those Mel Camille doubters? Well, next time, since we were able to showcase today. Just please have faith in us. Don't worry. And another occasion to celebrate. Owner has reached 1,500 LCK kills. Would you like to say a word of congrats? Well, I guess congratulations on the 1,500 kills. I hope you reach 2,000 kills quickly. And now you reach 4 wins in a row to secure 3rd place. And with today's victory, how high are you aiming to go? I believe that as long as we're able to win the remaining matches, we can actually finish 2nd place. And I just want to make sure that we are able to secure 2nd place by winning the remaining matches. We'll prepare well. And let's give it up for Pace once again. And back to Space. Thank you.